Now I just
Good morning, everyone. We
changed
are live.
Yes.
All right, folks, just trying to.
Friday.
I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. And now, Paul W. Smith.
This is the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. No official auto show taking place this year. We're bringing the show to you. Today's stop highlights General Motors. The WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith is presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. Here's Paul.
Thank you to all of our fine support, all of our wonderful sponsors to make it possible for us to do these great shows, especially on these Fridays, our very special road show. And did I say it's Friday? Yes, it's Friday!
Yay!
Oh, you can say that again.
Yay!
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is Friday, October 9th, the 283rd day of 2020. There are 83 days left in the year. Make each and every day count. Each day is a gift. Well, what a story, what a story, what a story. Unbelievable story about a plan to kidnap and quite possibly kill the governor of the great state of Michigan. And that was a pretty big story. I didn't think it could get any bigger until the governor decided to fight with the president again. I'm not sure exactly why, but there we go. So now we have, instead of the story being dominated by this ridiculousness of this militia, now it's another battle in the mud between our governor and the president. I can't figure it out. This is a year we will never forget for a million different reasons. So the big story, the governor was in a being plotted against to be kidnapped at her vacation home by a well-armed militia. And somehow she showed up on all of the national networks. We can't get her here this morning, back in her home state of Michigan. And she picked a fight. Somehow it tied into the president, and it's been off to the races ever since. Really distasteful to see adults playing in the mud the way these two have all along the way. And they point fingers at each other, and it doesn't much matter because we're on the outside looking in. And it's very disappointing all the way around. I'll be really glad when this whole political thing is over. If Joe Biden wins, she gets a job in Washington. Nothing could be clearer than that now, with the efforts that she puts in the national broadcasts, promoting the what in effect will be the Harris administration should Joe Biden win coming up in just days in the election. Even Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist was pushed into this within minutes on CNN, where else, when they were supposed to be talking about this ridiculous, horrible plot that indicated fabulous police work. Much more time was spent on the fact that, in fact, I'll give you the quote. Did you guys see Garland Gilchrist on CNN last night?
No.
I'll give you his quote. The second sentence was, "The thing I think people really need to know is that these people were emboldened by President Donald Trump, emboldened by the complicity and encouragement of leaders of the Michigan Republican Party who created the rhetorical space for them to plan these deadly actions. We need to hold these leaders accountable for that, those who have created that culture." Really? These are the people, Governor Whitmer included, who said no one should tolerate violence against our fellow Americans. I didn't hear a word from Governor Whitmer or other Democrats when towns were being burned, people were being beaten up, some killed, police cars destroyed, and all the other stuff that happened, that they looked the other way and said it was peaceful protests. It's astonishing to me and extremely disappointing. Let's find out at 5:43 how we're doing here. Take care of a little business.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
We've got it. Our WJR Traffic and Weather first. We've got Dana Clark.
And it is the weekend, so we've got construction happening 94 eastbound between Gratiot and 8 Mile. Starting tonight, 8 p.m., all lanes will shut down until 5 a.m. on Monday. And then construction still in place in Hazel Park along 8 Mile westbound between 75 and John R. That is closed through October 11th for concrete repairs. So a couple of more days for that, but that service drive does remain open. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel.
We'll continue with a warmth, unseasonably mild weather, backing off a little bit by the end of the weekend. Clear this morning, sunny this afternoon, high 76 on a south breeze. Some clouds tonight, very mild, 64. Cloud sun tomorrow, 78. Sunday, cloudy with a high of 68. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
And a very special day, not that it will much matter to people who've made up their minds, but if you listen to Rush Limbaugh today, we're told that the President of the United States will spend all 3 hours with Rush and then be back tonight with Mark Levin, interestingly enough. But like I say, they're kind of singing to the choir on those shows, aren't they? But it'll be fascinating, and you won't want to miss it, and we'll have it exclusively here on WJR from noon till 3, where we usually hear Rush Limbaugh. He stops by first thing in the morning, like right now.
The University of Farmington in Michigan offered students flexible schedules. It promised to prepare students for jobs in the global economy. The tuition didn't break the bank. Grad students paid just $11,000. Undergrads were charged $8,500. That's peanuts by comparison to other places. But here's the best part. Students at Farmington University never had to deal with the stresses of other universities. No worries about grades, homework, or being triggered by microaggressions because there were no classes. There weren't any professors. There were no degrees. Farmington University was a fraud. It had a website, but it was all a scam to allow foreign nationals who were in the U.S. on student visas to stay here legally without having to really attend school. That's right, my friends. Foreign nationals outsmarted America again. Until last Wednesday, when arrest warrants started flying. It turns out the University of Farmington was set up by ICE as a sting operation. And now people here illegally are being stung, and they actually are learning something. And the Democrats found out about this, and they are just livid.
Rush Limbaugh, noon to 3, today, right here on WJR. Well, I'm able to print again. Don't know what magically happened. I unplugged it, and turned it on and off 2 hours ago.
Well, maybe it needed a nap.
I think
Friday.
I think it needs a nap. I think it needs to be at the bottom of Lake Huron.
Don't do that. I don't think that would be a good idea. Don't do that. Oh man. Dana, what's planned for the weekend?
I don't know what's planned for the weekend, but it is going to be nice. It's going to be nice outside.
It's supposed to be gorgeous.
Good, yeah. So probably need to go to the park, do some outside stuff, I'm thinking. How about you? Any plans?
I'm thinking you're right.
Yeah.
Definitely want to do outside stuff because pretty soon we're not going to be able to be outside.
Right.
So as much outside this weekend is going to be the way to go, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So as we mentioned before, open bowling happens today, as well as the movie theater opens. So that game, Would you rather? Would you rather go to open bowling, or would you rather go to the movies?
Okay, wait. This is a good question.
You have to pick. Yes, that's
My
part
kids
of.
love this game.
I
It's
know.
very hard. Paul, you have to participate in this game.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it's called Would You Rather. So both movies and bowling start today. And if Kim said, honey, we're going to go either bowling or to the movies, the game is what would you rather do?
Me? That's
Yeah.
easy. Absolutely easy. I haven't stopped thinking about Imagine Theater's buttered popcorn. I don't.
I
You
knew
know
it.
what?
A no-brainer.
There can be a blank screen in front of me in one of those great Imagine Theaters that Paul Glantz has put together. I will eat my popcorn and fall asleep
Right,
and
and
feel
have a good
fabulous.
Right.
And I want the right to be able to do that. And I think as of today,
Yes.
we have the
today.
right to do that.
Yes.
And bowling. So
and
that's why
bowling.
we're playing Would You Rather. Because
Those
you have-
movie naps
Never
are
been
the
able
best.
to. I've just never been able to sleep well in a bowling alley.
Right. Yeah. The movie naps are the best. And you know what I hate when I fall asleep? Trevor used to wake me up. I'm like, do not wake me up. I'm asleep for a reason. Like, don't wake me up. Just tell me what happened. I'm okay. I'm not going to get mad. Do not bother me if I fall asleep in the movie. The best naps ever. I would rather go to the movies too.
Have you noticed that bothers some people?
I don't know why.
Even if you're at home.
Yes.
That's not everybody.
Wake me up all
But if
the
you're at
time.
home and you're supposed to be watching a television
Yes.
program, a football game, a movie or something, and you fall asleep, there are those that will let you sleep comfortably, and there
Me.
are those that say, honey,
Right.
you're asleep.
That's Trev.
You fell asleep. Yeah, I know I fell asleep.
You wake
I
up
felt
before
great.
Back to the
I'm in the
WJR
second
Road
category.
Show
You
with
wake
Paul
up
W.
before?
Smith. Presented
You
by
let people up,
Bridgestone,
Annie?
Lear,
Kim
Continental
lets me
Structural
sleep. I let Kim
Plastics,
sleep.
I
Axalta,
just
Happy
do.
hour.
I'm
and
like,
Eckhart.
go ahead.
With more from
Please.
General Motors, here's Paul.
That's right.
Wakes up
We
people.
are featuring General Motors today. We've done all the major car companies that affect our lives, which are all the major car companies affect our lives. And saluting today, really all the hardworking men and women of General Motors. They've gone through everything we've gone through and then some. And they have continued to make fabulous product, market-leading products. And like the other folks that we have featured, they also answered the call, so to speak, before they even got a call to make personal protection equipment for our frontliners, the people who have been working so hard under the worst of politicized dilemmas that any epidemic, this one pandemic, have ever seen in our lifetime, maybe in history. Although I thought I had printed, but I don't think it came through, an incredible story about what they used to do to people back in that was it 1819 or 1918, whatever the big pandemic that we had, 1918. This might be, this is it. I don't know if you guys saw this story from the history. See, that's the problem. I print everything, and my printers die a natural death.
Yeah, they.
This
You're
thing's
overworked, Paul.
not even a year old, for God's sakes.
I wouldn't
What's
work.
wrong with you? I'm yelling at my printer. I'd give it the Newt Rockney story, but it doesn't listen to me. But anyway, mask slackers and deadly spit, the 1918 flu campaigns to shame people into wearing masks and following the new rules. Even back then, here's a big pandemic. People are dying all over the place. And many of the methods used in 1918 to try to prevent the spread of the flu are similar to what people began doing during COVID-19 pandemic. Close schools, wear masks, don't cough or sneeze in someone's face. It's always a good rule. Avoid large events and hold them outside when possible. And by the way, no spitting. You know what left an indelible mark on me? So anyway, they had trouble getting people to do all those things that we're trying to get people to do now. But I don't know that they politicized it this way. They just didn't want to do it. But you know what? When I talk about spitting, you know that right from the beginning when I started going to China, which was many times and many years ago, there were signs, even inside in really nice places where you wouldn't think you'd have to say this, there were signs that said no spitting. Because for whatever reason in China, at least at that time, maybe they're over it, people spit all the time.
Really?
In fact, I was told, whatever you do, don't stand next to or walk next to a bus filled with people in the city. And it's because if I stood off to the side and watched, it was common to see people throwing hawkers out the window.
Oh my!
It was like a part of their. I don't know. It was.
You say New Yorkers are bad. I don't think so.
No. It's just a different idea of cleanliness and other things that we take for granted in this country that is just different for them, or at least it was. I haven't been there for a while. I don't know. Today, John Lennon would have been 80. Think of that. He's been gone about nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
Which also seems impossible to believe. But that he would be 80 today. Those first 40 years were so productive and so impactful. You have to wonder if he would have just kind of burned out and gone off into the sunset, or if he would have been even more impactful with his next 40 years had he been given the opportunity to live those 40 years. We're going to talk to a guy a little later.
Ivor
Davis. Who got a call as a kid in his 20s by a newspaper in London. They said, we want you to follow this group. They're going to America, 1964. Just follow them and do stories. That group was the Beatles.
How fun.
Can you imagine? That's a book I want.
Yeah, that's
But we'll
awesome.
talk to him about it. What time is that, Ann?
That is at 7:35, I believe.
So we actually had to tape that interview because he was not in England, but because that would have worked to our advantage. But he's in California on the West Coast.
7:35.
7:35. Ivor, and but fascinating. Hang with the Beatles, and he got especially close to John Lennon. It was very cool. I asked him some questions I always wondered about, like did they always appear to get along and all of that stuff. So, and he said they did. In fact, always appear to get along. So meanwhile, big arrests. We're going to ask some people. Andy Arena is coming up shortly, former FBI guy. And do you guys know the reason why some of them were federally charged and others were charged on, I guess, a state basis?
No, that's a very good question.
I just wondered about that. It's like 6 of them got federal charges. The other 7 got other charges. So it's I got to ask somebody who knows. Andy Arena will know.
Andy will know.
And we'll ask him coming up actually very shortly at 6:18, if you can stick around for that. And we have several interviews where we will be on our special broadcast on social media so that you can not only hear us, as always, but can watch us, too, with some of our guests from General Motors, because it is our Paul W. Smith Show, Road Show, WJR Road Show, featuring the good folks, the hardworking men and women of General Motors. It is 5:57 at WJR.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Let's check it right here, right now, just ahead of WJR News at Dick Hafner. We've got Dana Clark and our WJR Traffic and Weather first.
Once again, weekend construction in Detroit 94 eastbound between Gratiot and 8 Mile. Starting tonight at 8 p.m., all lanes will schedule to close until 5 a.m. on Monday. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel. Oh, it's going to be a great weekend out there. Lots of sunshine today and no rain over the next couple of days, at least a high of 75 tonight. Not as cool, partly cloudy skies, low 65. On Saturday, partly cloudy in the morning. could see a possible scattered thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high of 77. A little bit cooler on Sunday, mostly cloudy skies and partly cloudy in the afternoon. That means few peaks of sunshine on Sunday and a high of 66. Clear skies, 44 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 2 minutes.
Dubster,
Yes, ma'am.
the barrister's awake.
Oh,
He's answering one of your questions.
Yes, come on, it's Ask Ed.
He says,
I want to see him in his jammies.
Yes, Ask Ed.
He's got on his pajamas, from what I recall, having been over there at a slumber party before.
Slumber party.
He has the blind justice with the weight.
To answer part of the question, he says kidnapping is a federal offense, so it's handled by the feds, as is the bomb charges and the firearm charges. So that's part of it.
So they aren't
There are
all
federal offenses and state offenses.
I would have thought they were all committing federal offenses and state offenses.
And he hasn't answered that yet.
Imagine having to figure out in a group of 13 who was responsible individually for
a
what.
lot. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like I know they had a mole. They had somebody in there, so maybe that person was able to delineate who was in charge of what, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's
Thank you, Ed, for that helpful advice and information. We appreciate it.
But
I am still
one thing to ask Andy is, how did they separate the charges? Like, why some only state charges and others, the big ones? Maybe the 6 with the federal charges are the ones who were involved in the kidnapping attempt, the firearms, and planning to bomb the bridge, because they were going to bomb a bridge to distract law enforcement.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
It's the craziest story ever.
It is so sad and so crazy. But I'll tell you something that people don't remember. Well, a lot of people remember listening to this show, but I don't know, Dana, you're pretty young. Ann, you're pretty young.
Thank you, Paul. It's nice of you to say, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Militia have been around forever in Michigan, and I told Ann this story yesterday.
Oh, I know. Unfortunately, I'm not that young.
But I
remember them.
30 years ago, when my mother and father came to visit me in Philadelphia when I was working at that FM talk station, I took them to a wonderful restaurant that I did work with, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It's a great place in Philly. Marcia Brown was the owner. I remember all of it flooding back to me. But I took them in to take them to dinner, and I was very friendly, knew all the people there. And I took my dad over to the bar and introduced him to the bartender. And I said, Jerry, this is my dad. This is my father, William D. Smith, and he's from Monroe, Michigan. And the bartender, without skipping a beat, said, oh, Michigan, which militia?
Really?
That's how big the story was. I mean, he was joking, but to be able to tell a joke like that meant that the Michigan militia had been in the news enough 30 years ago that even a guy in Philadelphia tending the bar knew how to make a militia joke, saying someone's from Michigan. Oh, really, Michigan? Which militia? It's like saying to somebody from New Jersey, oh, yeah? What exit? You know that one, Dana, from being in New York. So poor people in New Jersey.
You're talking to me?
You're from New Jersey, really? What exit? So anyway, militia's been around a long time, but Ann, you pointed out they have been more riled up lately than usual. And when you start to think about it, I do not in any way, shape, or form offer excuses or condolence or not condolence. What's the word? I don't condone. Thank you. I don't condone in any way, shape, or form what these terrible criminals have done or were trying to do. But if you look at the way they think, they don't want government to be in their lives. They're against the whole idea of organized government, which is sad and unfortunate in itself. But we are looking at an unprecedented time where a governor, in their minds and in many people's minds, including the Michigan Supreme Court's mind, took away people's rights. So you can start to see when these people already have some twisted issues going on, how they, in their minds, were responding to what they've always been worried about: the black helicopters coming in, the special ops, and all the things that they've thought about, talked about, and been concerned about was starting to happen. I mean,
so this is an interesting research this morning, Paul, from the Detroit News, from Nolan Finley's editorial team. They say that over the past 6 years in the United States, there's been 894 terrorist attacks, okay? So this is according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. They call this center a bipartisan nonprofit research organization. They say that a majority of these attacks, 57%, involved right-wing groups such as white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and anti-government rebels. Left-wing extremists, anarchists, eco-terrorists were involved in 25% of the incidents. The rest were carried out by religious terrorists and other groups.
Oh my.
Now, oh my. Now they're saying the hateful nature of our politics nowadays has given rise to the extremism.
So people feel emboldened. Yeah.
We haven't talked, I don't know, we're probably booked to the gills, but we haven't talked to Nolan in a while. And I had actually cut out another Nolan editorial comment just the other day. I cut these things out. I carry them around until I finally just throw them away. And once I throw them away, they're booked the next day for the show.
Right.
I've been carrying stuff around for Shirky for days, and I threw a bunch of it away, and he's on the show today. So, but the things I was going to talk with him about are not what we should be talking to him about, which is this whole ridiculous militia plot. Now, I will say, I'm glad I was up late. I don't like staying up late, but I just do. When I saw Garland Gilchrist blaming the Republican Party in Michigan, I at least get to ask him about that.
This is the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. No official auto show taking place this year. We're bringing the show to you. Today's stop highlights General Motors. The WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith is presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. Here's Paul.
Thanks to all of those valued sponsors. We could not do this without them. And since there aren't any national or international auto shows to go to, which we've done exclusively for the last 25 years here on the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR, we decided to feature those people that we would have been talking about and featuring through those road shows, auto shows. So it's a virtual road show now as we celebrate the hardworking men and women of General Motors on this Friday, October 9th, the 283rd day of 2020 with 83 days left in the year. Make each and every day count. Each day is a gift. WJR's news director, Dick Hafner, is here with us, presenting the news in the rarefied form in which it should be presented, without editorial slant. We do the editorial slant. I'm not a newscaster. I'm an opinion caster. Dick is a newscaster who we drag kicking and screaming into the opinion area. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not.
I don't like it.
I know you don't. But we appreciate your thoughts in these areas. And that's what we do in our section, the talk show. I know you keep up doing what you do in the newscasts and our whole news team mostly, and we appreciate it very much. Dana Clark is checking traffic and weather, and she's not afraid to enter into the fray with her opinion, and we appreciate that too, and especially on Fridays because she has some opinions on some movies. What movies are you talking about today?
Today we are doing Tenet and The Bad Grandpa.
I think I saw the promo for the Bad
I think-
Grandpa.
I think that's the name of it. But Robert De Niro,
Yeah, Robert De Niro looking like
I know.
Bad Grandpa. Be that as it may, Brian Morton is back in the Golden Tower where
War on
There
Grandpa.
is
Sorry, the
War
War
on
on
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
I don't know.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, Brian knows all those because
Right, 'cause he had to pull
he's
the
gone
cut,
back
so-
to his badmovieguy.com. Maybe he never lost that online,
Oh,
but
okay.
I don't think he still does the badmovieguy.com column that he did, which was virtual, but I don't know that. But anyway, so we'll be doing that on the movies. Brian is pressing all the right buttons. I don't know how long, Dick, how long are you going to be in the Golden Tower, the Fisher Building, or is this forever now?
Well, forever is a long time there, but my current plan is to stay here for a while.
Okay, well,
I like it here. I don't like working at home. I
love working at home,
Mhm.
other than my printers dying because I burned through them. But I do like working from home.
Me too.
What do you guys? You guys like? Yeah,
Yes,
Dana does.
I don't ever have to go back.
Kim is. I wonder. Oh, I see her rundown over there. I bet she doesn't know I printed it late last night for her, but she's sending some things, and I'll send her a note that I can print again, which is great because I couldn't all night and early this morning. And our executive producer, running the show by the clock, Ann Thomas.
Good morning, Doug. Happy Friday.
Do you like doing it from home?
I love doing it from home.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it works out really well. Let's face it. You know, it's easy for a lot of people to say, I miss being at work because I miss seeing all the people that I work with. Well, I got to tell you something. You look around at 5:30 in the morning in our building. There aren't a lot of people
Nobody's
we're
there.
rubbing shoulders with.
No,
Right.
they don't want to hang out with us that early.
I don't understand why they don't want to come in. Bring donuts.
Right.
Just in case, and come in. You know by now the big story. It's a nationwide story. It's been divided now because it's also been politicized. But there should be no politics involved in a horrific story where the FBI and the Michigan State Police and others, we'll hear from Sheriff Mike Bouchard, have thwarted a plot to abduct and overthrow our governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Unbelievable. These are things you expect guys to be sitting around, not everybody, but people of this mindset sitting around and BSing and talking about it and whatever. You do not expect them to actually carry out a well thought out plan of terrorism. And I mean, all over the coronavirus and her rulings that some would argue have kept more people alive. Others would argue, well, look, the numbers are up again, even while people are doing what she says. I don't care where you stand in all of this. Unacceptable behavior is unacceptable behavior. That's easy. And this was unacceptable, abhorrent behavior. Thank God for the good police and the tremendous police work that thwarted this thing before they did anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so for those people who continue to suggest we need to defund the police, they're so wrong. I don't think my listeners are into defunding the police, but I can tell you that a lot of the politicians who are speaking up about this and blaming the president, of course, have been in the camp of either saying they're for defunding the police or not taking a strong stand to support our police. We went through that with Chief James Craig, who was kind enough not to mention any names, but he was talking about some people in Lansing who were not standing up for the police in Detroit. That's just wrong. When police make mistakes or when there are bad cops, they need to be dealt with immediately. But that leaves about 989,000 other police who do the lousy work of being society's sanitation workers. If they didn't clean up the streets and take people off the streets, we'd be running into them when we're out shopping, when we're out walking, when we're out doing anything. The police do such an important service. Wish they didn't have to, but they do have to. It is 6:13. WJR. We'll be in and out of online, on social media, on-camera reports throughout the morning here on WJR.
This report is sponsored by safeexcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit safeexcavator.com.
Let's check it for you right here at 6:13, just ahead of a conversation with former head of the FBI in Michigan here in Detroit area, Andy Arena. But right now it's Dana Clark, our WJR Traffic and Weather first.
And a reminder about weekend construction along 94 eastbound once again between Gratiot and 8 Mile, 8 p.m. tonight. All lanes are scheduled to close until 5 a.m. on Monday. Now WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel.
The push of warmer air continues on a south breeze.
I'll see
Clear
you guys
and reasonably cool this morning, mostly sunny later, 76. Tonight, almost 20 degrees above average, 64. Suburbs might dip into the 50s. Saturday, cloud, sun, upper 70s. Sunday, a little bit cooler, cloudy highs, upper 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
See, I can't hear the station now through this, so I guess I'm going to go off this for right now.
Okay. I'll go backstage and listen. And if you need me, text me.
I'll keep this thing plugged in.
And keep yourself up on camera with the nice video, and then just move over to the other one so you can talk to Brian.
Yeah, and hear this.
I'll
mute my mic for.
Everybody here know Kelly. Kelly who's fair and wise.
Now I can hear the
Kelly has experience.
So what should I do? Just stay with this system?
It's totally what makes you comfortable.
For 30 years,
I'm going to go back because I don't always look off to the
as a
side
prosecutor in St. Clair
to
County,
see what
protecting our rights
Brian
and
is.
making communities safer places.
Tom Leathers says, "What a crock in time for the election. Play it up, you clowns." Tom obviously hasn't been listening.
Families and children. Mary
You
Kelly
obviously haven't heard what we've said, Tom, but
by the Michigan
thanks for
Chamber
weighing
of
in. That's what's
Commerce.
great about social media.
For integrity, experience, and fairness, vote Mary Kelly for Supreme Court Justice.
Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly. Does everybody here know Kelly? Just for you and me.
Paid for by Michigan Chamber PAC 3 with regulated funds not authorized by any candidate.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
And we are, of course, staying on top of the news of the day. By the way, don't forget, President Donald Trump will be spending the day, really, with WJR and Rush Limbaugh from noon till 3. And then later in the evening with Mark Levin. And that's an exclusive coverage in Detroit by WJR that you'll be able to listen to if you'd like. As we have it right now, from noon till 3, kind of a Rush Limbaugh, President Trump rally to a huge audience, including you, a little later today, starting at noon. Andy Arena, the former FBI agent in charge of the Detroit office, currently executive director of the Detroit Crime Commission, and our go-to guy at times like this. And thankfully, Andy, there aren't that many times quite like this.
Very thankfully, Paul W. Good morning.
Good morning to you. And I have to ask a generic, well, not generic, I guess a general overall question as we get into this. How was it decided? Who decided it? How was it decided that some of these people in the militia were charged with state charges while others, like 6 of them, were charged with federal charges? How do you break down a group like this?
Well, I think the prosecutors in this case, both federal and state, are going to look at the individuals, their actions, and where do they best fit? Where are they going to most easily be prosecuted, state or federal? So I've been in those discussions. Everybody's in the room, and you're trying to see under which box to actually put these guys for the easiest, most seamless prosecution.
I guess I figured they'd all be under the same charges and that they would be state and federal charges. I guess I wrongly assumed that. When you were active in the FBI, you thwarted a number of terrorist acts. We don't always hear about them. In fact, we mainly don't hear about them. But did you have many problems with the Michigan militia?
Well, I think if you look across the political spectrum, Paul W., I mean, there's a lot of agitated people out there right now, and there have been over the last several years. So, these are not new issues. I just think they're a little bit more heated today, obviously, with the world we live in. But, yeah, these types of groups have been around. Obviously, if you look back to the Oklahoma City bombing and kind of the birth of that, where that all came from, obviously here in Michigan. But, many of these groups actually post Oklahoma City came to law enforcement and wanted to work with us because they wanted to rid themselves of these extremists. But, these anti-government individuals are out there. They're seeing ghosts everywhere, and certainly into some of these conspiracy theories. Obviously they're more agitated today than they were 10 years ago.
Yeah. Our governor and lieutenant governor decided to blame the president for this, but frankly, and I'm not blaming them, but it was the Michigan Supreme Court that pointed out what was being done, in their opinion, was unconstitutional. And these are people who like to think they are constitutionalists, and they don't like any government influence in their lives. They'd like to get rid of it, but certainly that must have emboldened them to say, see, we told you she was doing wrong things. But you can't be selective about which government entity you support and which ones you don't. Be that as it may, we're told the accused held weapons training in several states. They attempted to create bombs. Their training has been captured on video. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel said that separate to the kidnapping charges, 7 members of the Wolverine Watchman militia will be charged by the state with gang affiliation and providing material support to terrorists. And the Attorney General said the arrested militia members hope to start a civil war. There's another group they're tied in with, the Boogaloo Boys, B-O-I-S. What else can you tell us, Andy Arena, from your experience and your inside knowledge? What else do we know about the group or groups involved in this plot to kidnap and possibly kill our governor?
Well, I've been talking to a lot of folks about, they're kind of in the know on this, about this group. I think they're kind of a newer group. They certainly have not been on the radar for law enforcement. This is somebody I've never heard of, these guys, Paul W. But, I think the key to this is going to be the First Amendment, right? You have the right in this country to say just about anything you want. And as you said, I mean, there are a lot of folks out there that are very unhappy. But when you cross that line and start taking proactive measures to do something criminal, then obviously you stepped out from behind the protections of the First Amendment. And that's up to the courts to decide, right? We had a case several years ago, the Hatari case here in Detroit, very similar in facts to this case. And the court in that case said it did not cross the line. And so it's going to be up to the government now, the state, both the state and federal court, to show that these were very violent people and the actions did cross the line. On paper, it looks like it did, Paul W. But the courts are going to decide that.
Well, that's interesting you say. Andy Arena, former FBI agent in charge of the Detroit office, now the executive director of the Detroit Crime Commission. You say on paper it looked like they did. Obviously, the FBI, the Michigan State Police, the local units that were involved, and they should all be lauded for tremendous police work. As these guys were allegedly getting ready to storm the Capitol, there was a reason that these law enforcement people decided to storm them. What do you think was what caused the action to take place yesterday?
Well, it looks to me as though law enforcement was at the point where they could not let this go any further. So, that's always the issue you have in law enforcement is you're watching a group like this. How long do you let this go, right? How long do you let do you gather the evidence to show that they have crossed the line, that this is not First Amendment protected free speech? So when you're talking about storming the Capitol or kidnapping the governor, those are things you really can't play around with. And so I think they were at the point where being law enforcement, were at the point where they knew they had to act, right? They couldn't let this go any further. So in their mind, this was obviously very serious, and it was time to act.
What are the odds, Andy, that there are other groups like this one that might have even been in cahoots with this one that were not swooped up in this raid?
Well, I'm sure that law enforcement was, using their intelligence tools, had a pretty good handle on this group and who they were dealing with. But you hit it right on the head. There are people all over the political spectrum that are agitated, that are out there. This is an unprecedented time in our history, Paul W. We're leading up to a hotly contested election. And so, my fear is before and after the election, however it turns out, there's a lot of angry people out there. And, do they decide to act? And so this is very difficult for law enforcement, trying to keep tabs on these folks, not spying on U.S. citizens, but trying to make sure that these knuckleheads don't go out there and do something that's going to put us all in danger.
Yeah, it's astonishing that we find ourselves in this position. I suppose there are those who could say, after everything that's gone on, that they're not surprised. I'm always, I hope, always going to be surprised when something like this comes up, that people will have actually come this close to doing something that isn't going to fix anything. And I don't understand the mentality of the benefits of a civil war, which the Attorney General says is what they were aiming for, creating that kind of a situation where we have a civil war. I don't get it, Andy. Anything else we need to know before I let you go? And thanks for your expertise. Any other observations?
Well, Paul W., you kind of hit it on the head there. I mean, you're a rational man. I like to think I'm a rational man. The people that get involved in this they're extremists, right? And so from a law enforcement standpoint, you're looking at right-wing, left-wing, international terrorists. They have to keep their eye on the ball. Each side tries to point out the extremist side, the other side. The FBI, they've got to look at everybody because there's extremists all over the place. And so in this environment, they have a very tough job right now.
Well put. We appreciate your expertise as always. Glad things are going well there at the Detroit Crime Commission, or at least I hope they are. And I look forward to our next conversation, but I hope it's not about something like this, Andy.
Look forward to it, Paul W. Thank you.
See you later. Andy Arena, a former FBI agent in charge of the Detroit office, currently executive director of the Detroit Crime Commission. We will be checking in with Congressman Mike Rogers, former FBI man, also a little later this morning, get some of his input. Christy Cook is coming up, the manager of Central Kitchen and Bar, our Opportunity Detroit promote for this Sunday's show at noon. Right now, it is 6:27.
This report is sponsored by Fresh Time Farmers Market. It's no surprise that healthy living begins with what we eat. Stop by Fresh Time Market for extra large red, green, or black seedless grapes, 99 cents a pound. Now through October 13th, you can trust Fresh Time to bring you real food at real affordable prices.
And we've got it. Our WJR Traffic and Weather first, and Dana Clark.
Have a quiet drive out there, Paul W. Accident free, no delays. Weekend construction, just a reminder, 94 eastbound between Gratiot and 8 Mile, 8 p.m. tonight. All lanes will shut down until 5 a.m. on Monday. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel. Expecting a great weekend today. Best day of the weekend. At least lots of sunshine today. No rain, a high of 75. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 65. Looks like we could see some afternoon showers on Saturday, but some clouds, some sun, possibly thunderstorms in the afternoon. It's going to be warm, though, a high of 77. Cooler on Sunday, clouds and sun, and a high of only 66. Clear skies, 44 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Dennis Miller, host of the podcast, The Dennis Miller Option, your source for opinions, stories, probably a few laughs.
Going in to perform surgery on Darth Vader or something with that mask.
Join me and my crew each week as we give you our take on current pop culture, politics, and really anything that pops into our mind.
Use the forceps, Luke.
Listen and subscribe to the Dennis Miller Option for free
on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows. Lifetime politician Gary Peters now wants to lean into the Green New Deal. Really, Gary? The Green New Deal is a socialist plan that would make us pay more with higher gas prices at the pump, and it would make our electric bills skyrocket, raising them up to 286%, costing us every time we flip on the lights, make coffee, charge our cell phones, turn on our television, or power up our computers. Peters said he thinks it's very exciting what's happening around the Green New Deal. Very exciting? When we can least afford it, the Green New Deal would kill over 1 million jobs and put bureaucrats in control of what cars we build and what kind of cars we can drive. Reject Gary Peters. He just keeps making life harder for Michigan. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom, inviting companies large and small in Michigan to take the Popcorn Pledge. Order special holiday tins of brown bag popcorn, gourmet popcorn for your clients and employees for the holidays by going to brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge. You'll be helping support Say Detroit charities at a time when those less fortunate in our community really can use the help. It's popcorn with a purpose. Take the pledge today at brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge.
President Trump will hold a rally of sorts today on our air. The White House and the Rush Limbaugh Show say Trump will be on the Limbaugh Show for all 3 hours today. The Rush Limbaugh Show starts after the 12 noon news. President Trump joined the Hannity TV show last night to discuss how he's feeling.
I just saw the doctors today. They think I'm in great shape. I'm in great shape.
Did you test negative?
Good shape and I'll tell you, I took this Regeneron. It's phenomenal. And Eli Lilly has something very comparable. It's phenomenal. And it's a whole new day.
The president did not say whether he has tested positive for the virus. The president's doctor has given him the go-ahead to return to public engagement starting Saturday, and Trump plans a rally in Florida on Saturday night. WJR News Time 6:32. The president, of course, has been exchanging Twitter messages with Governor Whitmer on the aftermath of the charges against 13 men on plots to abduct and possibly kill the governor. Trump tweeted that Whitmer has done a terrible job. She calls me a white supremacist, while Biden and Democrats refuse to condemn Antifa, anarchists, looters, and mobs. I do not tolerate any extreme violence. Whitmer responded with a tweet that said, Mr. President, I thought you weren't interested in a virtual debate. You clearly didn't watch my speech earlier. And then Whitmer told CNN,
after a plot to kidnap and to kill me, this is what they come out with. They start attacking me, as opposed to what good, decent people would do is to check in and say, are you okay? Which is what Joe Biden did.
Several of the 13 men charged in the plots to kidnap Governor Whitmer have been arraigned and are jailed on high bonds. Others are due in court to face the charges by federal and state authorities that they took part in a detailed plan to abduct Whitmer, bring her to Wisconsin, stage a trial in which the governor would be accused of treason, and also to storm the Michigan Capitol and take over the Capitol. The authorities say there could be more arrests. House Speaker Pelosi says she may introduce a bill that would allow a body appointed by the Congress to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office as he recovers from coronavirus. Hurricane Delta is getting closer to the U.S. Gulf Coast. Police are looking for 3 men after a homeowner was shot overnight during a home invasion in West Bloomfield. This happened around 3:30 this morning. Police say 3 men broke into the house on Janet Drive near Hiller and Greer. There's no word on the condition of the homeowner. Soon, recreational pot will be available for home delivery in Michigan. The online ordering site Lantern is partnering with a pot group to have it shipped to customers in 1 hour. They say it'll be worry-free home delivery in Detroit, Ann Arbor, and the surrounding area. There's a $50 minimum, but they say delivery will be free. On Wall Street, the Dow futures are down. I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. More coming up with Paul W.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need to increase federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and childcare programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Axalta's Color of the Year has been highly anticipated and graciously received. This year, Axalta dove into its trend research and color technology to make a splash. Axalta Global Color Product Manager Nancy Lockhart, tell us what it is.
Axalta's 2020 Automotive Color of the Year is Sea Glass, a striking turquoise blue that captivates with sparkling effects and intense chroma. Inspired by a sense of sustainability in nature, Sea Glass infuses a tranquil yet confident style. Sea Glass evokes the calming, powerful elements found in oceanic depths while staying on trend with the recent rise of blue vehicles. Sea Glass was formulated with built-in paint technologies that allow vehicle-to-vehicle detection to facilitate the advancement of autonomous mobility. Designed to be seen, Sea Glass brings striking rich color and detectability to the roadways.
For more, visit Axalta.com/color. Axalta Coating Systems, inventors of your favorite color.
You're hearing The Paul W. Smith Show. News Talk 760, WJR.
The first time Christy Cook set foot in Central Kitchen and Bar was almost 3 years ago. She visited the restaurant with a friend and fell in love. And she's been coming to the restaurant regularly ever since. She said there are several reasons why she came back again and again to Central: the atmosphere, the people, the amazing food. Now, Christy is bringing over 15 years of experience in the hospitality industry into her new role as the manager for Central Kitchen and Bar. It's a pleasure meeting Christy Cook. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I am excellent, and I'm sorry. The obvious is always sticks out in my head, and I have to say it. With a name like Cook, it's a good thing you're at the kitchen.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I know you've heard it a million times, but I had to say it.
Yes, you did. Yes. It's people call me Cook all the time. Nickname is Cookie too. So yes, it is something that does happen because of what I do and the last name.
The experience that you've had, you say, has made you fall in love with the city of Detroit again. Start from the beginning. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your history.
Well, originally when I first came back to Detroit, I had a good friend of mine from high school that was opening up a bar in downtown, right across the street from Comerica Park. And so I recently had some extra time on my hands, so I decided that I would come down and work twice a week downtown. So I fell in love with it, started working at another restaurant downtown, and then found my way over to Central. And I just love this city. I love that it's coming back, and it's become home. I also now live here as well as work here.
So you started working downtown a couple of years ago when you helped that friend, I guess, at the pizza bar. You fell in love with the city of Detroit again, and now you're very much a part of it at one of the hot places, Central Kitchen and Bar. Tell us a little bit about Central Kitchen and Bar and what you feature and what kind of cuisine, etc.
So Central Kitchen and Bar, we're located right downtown in Campus Martius on the corner of Woodward and Cadillac Square. And a couple of the reasons why I love it is because of the guests that come in there on a daily basis. You never, ever, ever know who's going to walk in the door. We have local politicians, we have national politicians that come in all the time. We have athletes, that come in. And then we also have, local city council people. And then we have everybody from, somebody that lives down the road from me or in one of the local neighborhoods. A couple of other things is that, we have one of the few female executive chefs in our restaurant with Chef Christina, and she makes some amazing food on a daily basis, and it's kind of a twist on American food. She'll do some Southern cooking when it comes to jambalaya, she'll make, as well as, fried chicken sandwiches, and which we've gotten an award for. And then we also have some phenomenal cocktails. Flour, is amazing. We have Angie behind the bar that does a phenomenal job that guests come in specifically to see her. There's just a lot of history where we're at and where we're located.
So were you all over fried chicken sandwiches before they became a big popular thing again when Popeyes introduced theirs?
Yes, we've had a buttermilk fried chicken sandwich since the day we opened. So,
and yes. I bet you'd put it up. I bet you'd put it up against anybody else's, especially any fast food fried chicken sandwich.
Absolutely.
I cannot wait to try the Central Kitchen and Bar fried chicken sandwich. I cannot wait. So, busy as you are as the manager of Central Kitchen and Bar, Christy Cook, you're a busy mother of three. If you're not behind the bar talking politics or sports, you might be on the Ohio Turnpike driving back and forth from Detroit to Pittsburgh to join your boys on the football field or a basketball court. So you have a little experience in feeding those athletes that are sometimes have special food needs. Like, first of all, lots of it.
Yes. With having three boys and them being, as active as they are, yes, I have been called the Kool-Aid mom at times. The house, when I lived up in Grand Blanc, we were in the suburbs, we always had a full house full of kids, boys, all the neighborhood. We always cooked on Sundays, and everybody in the family came over and all the neighbors came over. So this is Central Kitchen and Bar is just as it would be if you were in my house. I will treat you the same. You come in, we ensure that you have a great time, you're taken care of, you love the food, you love the atmosphere, you love the vibe. So, yes, crazy busy.
Yeah, your restaurant, as we mentioned, Central Kitchen and Bar each time, it faces Cadillac Square, right?
Yeah, that is it.
And it's historically, it's a great place for you to be. Tell us a little bit of that history.
Yes. So our name, Central Kitchen and Bar, actually came from Central Market. So the Central Market is where Cadillac Park is right now. And it used to be located between Bates and Randolph down Michigan Ave. And that's where everybody would go and get vegetables and would go shopping. You would have lines of horse buggies that would go there to, sell stuff, buy stuff, whatever the case may be. And then after Central Market went away because Eastern Market opened, that is when they built the Pontchartrain Hotel. And that was built in like the early 1900s. And then that only lasted 13 years. But I love the history of the Pontchartrain Hotel because not a lot has changed. I was reading an article about it, and it talked about how the big wigs and all the engineers from Ford would come down and they would sit at the bar, the Pontchartrain Hotel, and they would talk about all these blueprints and creating these cars and all these new concepts. And that is exactly what we still are to this day. We have people that come in, they meet, they have conversations, they're creating good things for the city when they come in. And I just love the parallel of the history of our building and that building. Because now as the Pontchartrain Hotel was knocked down in the 1920s, Then they created the First National Bank. And that's what our building is now. And so our liquor is held in the basement is actually one of the old original bank vaults of the First National Bank.
Cool.
So there is a ton of history in our building.
Anything else you want us to know about your fabulous central kitchen and bar, Christy?
Yeah, since we reopened up, we do have different hours that are ordinary hours. So I would love people to know, we're open Thursday and Friday night for dinner from 4 to 10. Saturday we are open 12 to 10, and Sundays we are open from 11 to 4. And, we do take reservations now. That's not something we did, prior. So again, please visit our website, follow us on Instagram, and you can make, reservations there. You can also go to Open Table and make reservations through there as well. And, we're so glad to be back. We're so glad to be, reopened again. And we just love seeing everybody walk through our doors.
Well, happy that you are back. Happy that you do take reservations, remembering Thursday and Friday for dinner, 4 to 10, Saturday, noon to 10, Sunday, 11 to 4. And by your own exclamation, you have a heck of a brunch on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
People should know about. Well,
Yep,
I can't wait to come and visit you. I don't care if it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I'm going to ask for the buttermilk fried chicken sandwich.
Yes, definitely. We've got you when you come in, Paul.
All right. Thanks so much. Again, people can go to centraldetroit.com, centraldetroit.com, and that's where you'll find the manager of Central Kitchen and Bar, Christy Cook, our guest. Thanks, Christy. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
As we continue on the Paul W. Smith Show at WJR.
This report is sponsored by MGM Grand Detroit. At MGM Grand Detroit, they can't wait to see you again. They look a little different as they've made changes for your health and safety to ensure your visit will still be a grand time. They hope to see you soon, and remember to always mask up. 21 plus.
Let's check it. Our WJR Traffic and Weather with Miss Dana Clark.
We do have an accident, Paul W. Southfield Freeway northbound between Joy Road and Plymouth. The left lane is blocked. Traffic is backed up there. Also a slow ride 75 southbound between 696 and 9 Mile. And now a new accident reported in Bloomfield Township, Square Lake Road at Franklin. Now WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Metro Detroit chapter of Sheet Metal and Air Conditioning Contractors National Association, SMACNA. SMACNA contractors fabricate, install, and service heating and cooling, ventilation systems, build metal roofing, and much more for your commercial, industrial, public, or residential project. They take all the necessary precautions, getting the job done right and on time. Hire Detroit's best. Visit smacnad.org.
Well, warm weather continues. Slight cool down by the end of the weekend, but still staying above the average high, which is 65. Off to a beautiful start today. Clear skies, sunny later. A south breeze, 76 should do it. Tonight, 64. The average low is 46. Tomorrow, cloud, sun, upper 70s. Sunday, cloudy with highs in the upper 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on Newstalk 760 WJR.
And at 6:46 on this Friday morning edition of the Paul W. Smith Show, we've got 44 degrees. 44 degrees. And don't forget, noon till 3 exclusively on WJR, the President of the United States spending the entire program, we're told, with Rush Limbaugh. Rush will be back. The President will be with him noon till 3. If you miss that for whatever reason, be sure to tune in to Mark Levin tonight, because the President will stop by and visit with Mark Levin this evening as well. All right here, exclusively on WJR. At 6:47, we have Automotive Views with the great Jason Stein. Jason Stein is the publisher of Automotive News and is presented by Yazaki. Yazaki, fully connected to vehicle electrification. Yazaki. Jason?
An Automotive Chapter closed last week, and if you didn't hear about it, you'll certainly miss the voice that dominated radio over the last couple of decades. Bob Schumann sold his single-point dealership to the 19-store LaFontaine Automotive Group. The deal closed on October 1st. Schumann, who is known for his familiar, funny, wacky radio ads that emulated David Letterman's top 10 lists, sold his store in Walled Lake, Michigan. He crammed more words than humanly possible into his signature 15, 30, and 60-second spots, with a tongue-in-cheek kicker touting the biggest Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer in Walled Lake. He was the only dealer in town. It's a sign of the times in the retail space. Single-point stores are disappearing as larger groups find economies of scale and a greater footprint backed by some serious investors. One other thing, Schumann was an outspoken advocate for the small-town dealer and often fought the factory over big image programs. He didn't have a cappuccino machine or granite countertops, but he said the bad coffee was free. So closes a chapter after 65 years and 3 generations. So long, Bob Schumann. You'll be missed. With this week's Automotive View, I'm Jason Stein, publisher of Automotive News.
As the auto industry's reliance on internal combustion engines shifts to electric, electrification will be the foundation for any type of advanced mobility. And with more than 75 years of wire harness electrical and data solutions experience, Yazaki is your development partner for electric vehicles. Yazaki's customers have access to a comprehensive high-voltage products and systems portfolio, and the company's deep understanding of global automotive standards makes it the best choice to help drive and optimize your future vehicle's electrification systems and power distribution architecture. As a full-service supplier, Yazaki offers extensive additive manufacturing and rapid prototype capabilities. Its wide range of high-voltage research and testing resources helps customers integrate vehicle electrification, connectivity, and autonomy. Fully connected to vehicle electrification.
What is it?
Learn more at yazaki-na.com.
Hi, Kelly.
How did we ever come to the belief that we have no control over the inevitability of heart attack or stroke? That it was somehow predestined in our genes, inherited, or inevitable due to some random chance that outsmarted the medical field? We've come to accept these two fallacies, but the fact is that heart attack and stroke are 100% preventable, and cardiac disease is reversible. It's not in the genes, it's in your profile. It's time to take charge of your health. Call Dr. Brian Collender at 866-KOLENDER.
2020 took a different path than we expected, but it definitely didn't slow our pace. Planet M has helped private and public entities work together to advance the future of mobility technology along a challenging course. Working together has been the key to staying on the right path. So whether you're just getting started or already an industry leader, Planet M is your connection to Michigan's mobility ecosystem and our future. If you're ready to make a move with your business, see how we can help at planetem.com/pure-partnership.
Confidence. It's important to have when you're on the road. Be prepared for whatever cooler weather brings. With a new set of innovative Bridgestone or dependable Firestone tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you're riding on tires you can trust. Bridgestone and Firestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. Bridgestone and Firestone are proud to support their global OE and aftermarket customers. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion. From the advanced composites in the roof of an iconic off-road vehicle to the toughest pickup truck box available, a next-generation electric vehicle battery case, or the complete body of a world-class performance car, Continental Structural Plastics is going beyond expectations to reduce vehicle weight, improve performance, and enhance design flexibility. Infinite possibilities powered by science, brought to you by Continental Structural Plastics, a Tajan Group company. Learn more at cspplastics.com.
The choice is clear. We need Mary Kelly on the Michigan Supreme Court. Mary Kelly has 30 years' experience as a prosecutor, protecting the most vulnerable members of our community while putting violent criminals behind bars. In fact, Kelly founded the first ever child sex abuse unit in St. Clair County, which stands today as a model for how best to deliver swift justice for vulnerable victims of crime. Mary Kelly understands that victims of these heinous crimes deserve justice, protection, and compassion. That's why Kelly's earned endorsements from over 50 county prosecutors all across our state. Kelly's also endorsed by the Michigan Chamber of Commerce because she'll stand for rule of law, and was awarded the James T. Corden Civility Award by her peers, recognizing attorneys who practice with dignity and respect. When you cast your vote, support Mary Kelly for Michigan Supreme Court on the nonpartisan section of your ballot. Paid for by Mary Kelly for Justice.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
As we feature the hardworking men and women of General Motors on this Friday morning edition of the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR, we are also covering the big story of the day with the governor. There was a plan by Michigan militia to kidnap her and possibly kill her, and the FBI, the state police, local agencies have abducted 13 people involved with that. That conversation continues as details emerge, and included in our newscasts each hour and half hour, but also former Congressman, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and former FBI agent Mike Rogers coming up at 7:05. As we continue to talk about GM and the great things they've done. They were the first automaker to launch a long-range affordable EV in 2017 with the Chevrolet Bolt EV, electric vehicle. And Kelly Helfrich is the manager of EV charging and infrastructure at General Motors. She's in charge of the whole, she's focused really on creating and deploying smart transportation solutions powered by zero emissions. That's a lot to do, Kelly. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, we work on a great team here at GM, and our whole mission is to make sure that the charging experience for your electric vehicle is as easy as it possibly can be.
You know, I'm glad that I have a chance to speak with an expert with your experience, because one of the reports I heard most recently after California made the announcement that they were going to bar the sale of regular old-fashioned piston engine, gasoline, diesel engines in the not too distant future. But then someone followed that up with saying, well, then they're going to have to do a heck of a lot to improve their grid, the electrical grid, because it's not strong enough, big enough, powerful enough, whatever the terms might be, to handle everybody driving an electric car. Is that something you have to look into as well, Kelly?
Yeah, so the great thing about electric vehicles is that, especially as we get longer range electric vehicles on the road, is they don't have to be charged all the time, right? And they're smart vehicles. And so there's definitely opportunities to work with the power grid, electric utilities across the country to make sure that we're allowing electric vehicles to be charged at times when it's optimal for the grid, perhaps when more renewable energy sources are online, for example. And so there's definitely a lot of opportunity to make sure that even as electric vehicle volumes grow across the country, that they're optimized for when there's power available.
You know, it's funny because in the past, it used to be, could you please plug your car in at nighttime when you go to bed? I have a feeling that a lot of people are kind of like me. I plug in my iPhone every night, even though I don't need to. And my kids tell me I shouldn't, but I do. It's just it's my habit. So if I had an electric vehicle, I would plug it in every night. But if everybody has an electric vehicle, everybody's going to plug it in at night. So that's an issue, obviously, that has been thought about, has been discussed, and will be dealt with as we go along.
Yeah, we always say that plugging in charging your electric vehicle is very similar to charging your cell phone. So I plug in my electric vehicle every night, and you know, one common misconception about electric vehicles too is that you're always having to charge it from 0 to full. Typically what we see in the US is people are driving 40 to 50 miles per day. So similar to your cell phone, you're plugging it in, not necessarily when it's at 0% state of charge, but just out of habit because it's convenient. And so typically it takes people only a couple hours of the night to fully charge their electric vehicle. And so that leaves us a lot of hours to work with for the remainder of the evening and the morning to get that customer back up to 100% state of charge when they need it, but maybe not right away when they get home in the evening, because of course vehicles do sit a lot of the time parked either in your garage or at work or at some other location. So
and you'll have a system, obviously, because like in the old days, you plug something in to charge it, you had to pull it out, the plug, once it was charged. You're going to have a system in there, obviously, that will regulate the charging, and you won't be able to overcharge and stuff like that. Tell me about this new partnership that you have. Is it Eviego, or is that what it is?
Yes, Eviego. So Eviego is a charging network that's been in the space for 10 years now. So they've built out public DC fast charging infrastructure across the U.S. And GM is partnering with Eviego to even further build out their public fast charging infrastructure. We're going to be building over 2,700 new charging stations with Eviego across the next 5 years. And what's great about this partnership is we're obviously leveraging Evigo's 10 years of experience in this space, building infrastructure, working with utilities to get those charging stations in the ground. And we're also leveraging the data that GM has from our OnStar platform to strategically locate these charging stations in places where we know people want to spend time and we know people are already traveling frequently.
Well, I appreciate the video that your people have sent to us that's on our social media pages, WJR Facebook, YouTube, etc., so that people can see some of this work that you're doing if they want to tune in. And our General Motors conversations are also on the social media, as well as 760 on the AM dial. A very quick shout out to this nonprofit that you're the co-founder and president of, which is focused on youth education and development in Detroit and East Africa. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my dad and I started that about 11 years ago. So we work with youth development opportunities in Detroit, and we also work in East Africa on a few initiatives, mostly health and education related.
That's fabulous. Just like all the young entrepreneurs that we talk to now, they all are socially conscious, or at least so far they have been. And I salute you for that, Kelly. Nice meeting you. Nice having you on the program.
Thank you.
Kelly Helfrich, manager of EV charging and infrastructure at General Motors at 6:59.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Former Congressman and former chairman of House Intelligence Committee, former FBI agent to Mike Rogers, weighing in on the plot to kidnap the governor of the great state of Michigan. That right after the news here on WJR Detroit. And at just about 7 o'clock, we have our WJR Traffic and Weather first and Dana Clark.
An accident, Paul W. Southfield Freeway northbound between Joy Road and Plymouth. A collision there blocks the left lane. 75 northbound between Crooks and Adams. A slow ride there. Southbound 75 also tapping the brakes between 696 and 9 Mile. In Bloomfield Township, watch for an accident along Square Lake at Franklin Road. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel. Great day to kick off the weekend. Lots of sunshine, a high of 75. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 65. Clear skies, 44 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 1 minute.
From the advanced composites in the roof of an iconic off-road vehicle to the toughest pickup truck box available, a next-generation electric vehicle battery case, or the complete body of a world-class performance car, Continental Structural Plastics is going beyond expectations to reduce vehicle weight, improve performance, and enhance design flexibility. Infinite possibilities powered by science, brought to you by Continental Structural Plastics, a Tajan Group company. Learn more at cspplastics.com.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit, the great voice of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
A number of the 13 men charged in plots to kidnap Governor Whitmer and possibly kill her have been arraigned and are jailed on high bonds. Others are due in court to face the charges by federal and state authorities that they took part in an elaborate plan to abduct Whitmer, take her to Wisconsin, stage a trial where she would be accused of treason, and also to storm the Michigan Capitol. One of their training grounds, according to the authorities, was in Jackson County, where explosives were tested out. They say the men surveilled the governor's vacation home near Elk Rapids, where the abduction was planned. The authorities say there could be more arrests. Former FBI Special Agent in Charge Detroit Andrew Arena tells Paul W. that anti-government groups have been growing.
Anti-government individuals are out there. They're seeing ghosts everywhere, and certainly into some of these conspiracy theories. Obviously they're more agitated today than they were 10 years ago.
Governor Whitmer lashed out at President Trump for not coming out, she said, against white supremacy groups.
Hate groups heard the president's words not as a rebuke,
but as a rallying cry, as a call to action. When our leaders speak, their words matter. They carry weight. When our leaders meet with, encourage, or fraternize with domestic terrorists, they legitimize their actions, and they are complicit.
The White House press secretary says that Mr. Trump has denounced these groups many times. The White House and the Rush Limbaugh show say that Trump will be on the Limbaugh show for all 3 hours today. That'll be on WJR after the 12 noon news. Trump and Whitmer exchanged Twitter messages overnight in which they criticized the other. Trump is set to go back on the campaign trail tomorrow night in Florida. Nancy Pelosi says she may unveil a bill today that will create a commission with the power to remove a sitting president. Police are looking for 3 men after a homeowner was shot during a home invasion overnight in West Bloomfield. Movie theaters reopen in Michigan today. Things will be different. The usual safety precautions will be in place. Theaters will operate at 20% capacity. There'll be physical distancing signs instructing patrons on what to do. Paul Glantz of the Imagine Theaters says
there will be people perhaps who have health conditions that'll be slower to adopt. But the most important thing to us is we're finally reopening. Now we get to demonstrate empirically that it is safe.
Employees will wear masks. Hand sanitizing stations will be at the theaters. Patrons will have to wear masks if they're not eating or drinking. And open bowling will also return to bowling centers today. Hurricane Delta is bearing down on the U.S. Gulf Coast. It will hit land sometime today. On Wall Street, the Dow futures are down. I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. More coming up with Paul W.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need to increase federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and childcare programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
If you live to be 100, that's 36,500 days. How many days will you truly enjoy? This weekend on America's Wealth Management Show, how to make the most out of your retirement. Sunday night at 6 on WJR.
This is the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. No official auto show taking place this year. We're bringing the show to you. Today's stop highlights General Motors. The WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith is presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. Here's Paul.
And what a pleasure it is to be brought to you by all of those fine people and to be able to salute the fine people of General Motors on this Friday, October 9th, the 283rd day of 2020. There are 83 days left in the year. Make each and every day count. Each day is a gift.
The Nobel
Well,
Peace Prize awarded to the UN's.
Well, it's a great and busy day. I wish it weren't so news rich, with the top of the news being the foiled kidnapping attempt and possible murder of the governor of the great state of Michigan. You can freely argue, freely complain, freely disagree with anyone in this great state or in this great country. But when you cross a line, you're going to pay. And a line was crossed, and there's hell to pay. The feds and the state police and local agencies working together with tremendous police work. And I would like to hear that from more people talking about this. The incredible police work that foiled this potential disaster. And I hope the people who want to defund the police are listening and paying attention. The former congressman, former chairman of House Intelligence Committee, former FBI agent, which would have solved a tremendous number of the president's own problems if he had appointed this man as the head of the FBI back in the beginning, but he did not. But former Congressman Mike Rogers is on the other end of our line, and just when you thought you saw it all, Michael, there's more. Good morning to you.
Paul, always great to hear your voice. Hope you're doing well.
We're doing well. We're befuddled by all of this. Pretty horrific. But again, great work by the FBI, the Michigan State Police, the local agencies to thwart this, to nip it in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the FBI and the Michigan State Police did phenomenal work. And so, what was really important about this, so this was a dangerous group of individuals for a couple of reasons. One, they went into the phase of actually not just planning. This wasn't a group of a few folks sitting around the bonfire drinking beer saying, hey, we ought to go storm the Capitol. This was folks who had actually engaged in planning, buying materials, surveillance, even testing explosive devices. I mean, this rose to a level of danger. And what the FBI and the state police went through was making sure they had the weight of the evidence to convict them. I mean, it's if you read through the affidavit, it's pretty damning for them. And thank God they got on them before they went too far.
What's kind of interesting for us is the difference between state and federal charges. I presumed when I first heard 13 men had been arrested that all of them would be under the same charges. But what we've learned, Mike Rogers, is that there is a difference between state and federal charges. Federal crimes are prosecuted by the assistant U.S. attorneys and investigated by federal officers, such as the FBI or even DEA agents. State crimes are investigated by county sheriffs, state agents, or local police officers, and prosecuted by state district attorneys or city attorneys. But we were surprised that we have this kind of a split situation.
I wasn't really surprised. So in something
you're a former FBI guy. I'm not.
I guess I would be. It would be surprising if I weren't surprised. Is that the right answer?
I think so.
For a couple of reasons. So the state police were obviously involved in this because of the governor's security and making sure that nothing bad was happening to her and her family. And we ought to think about her and her family. This is a traumatic event. Politics is bad enough. Let alone have to deal with something like this. And so what happens is the federal government will do its investigation. The state will participate in that. And then the state will have equities that they believe need to be prosecuted that would be different than the federal government. And so those charges and those charge lists, and I think those are going to change over time. People are going to start flipping and cooperating and telling stories. And you're going to see this kind of narrow down to some federal charges and some state charges. And sometimes the federal government work out that, yep, good. You get convicted in the state, you go serve your time there. Then come see us in the federal government. They maybe do the trial simultaneously or near simultaneously, but you'll have to do time in the federal government as well. So these are going to be long, hard sentences, as they should be. These people we're talking about overthrowing the government, kidnapping a sitting governor. I mean, this is pretty dangerous stuff, and they need to send a very clear message that this is not acceptable and we will not tolerate it.
Some of the concern is that, yes, they got 13 people, but we have reason to believe this is a situation that has spread throughout the country. Certainly, we know in this horrific political time, and it is horrific, there are a lot of people who are disgruntled, very upset, having had lose their jobs, lose their business, any number of things through the shutdown and the politicization of the virus. How do you make sure there aren't a bunch of other people that haven't been arrested that are involved in a plot like this?
Well, it's just good police work, as you said up front. So the FBI does monitor domestic terrorism and groups that identify with acts of violence in their ideology. And so this group, Paul, was saying, hey, we believe that the U.S. Bill of Rights is the overriding everything, and that we should be self-sufficient. So you take all of the angst, right, that you just talked about in their lives. Maybe they're not working. They feel like things just aren't going their way. They have this passionate belief about the U.S. The Bill of Rights, and now they found other people who feel the same way, and they think, well, listen, let's stop talking about it. Let's do something about it. And the psychology of that is, if it's just you and your neighbor talking in the garage, probably doesn't go anywhere. But what happened is they had enough of those people say yes, 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 and then they started going out and recruiting people. So they went to the Michigan militia and said, hey, we want to find people who are a member of that group who want to commit an act of violence like we do here back in the state of Michigan. And so that's what you have to watch out for. And that's what the FBI will be doing. And I think, states like Michigan have the capability to do these complex investigations. And I'm going to guarantee they'll continue to monitor this situation and develop sources of information so that they can keep ahead of this thing. And it doesn't always work, but in a case like this, good citizens actually said, whoops, this isn't going to work, and ended up cooperating with the FBI and the state police. So that's exactly how they'll keep on it.
I'm just disappointed that even this, everything's been politicized, starting with the virus, but now even this has been politicized, and was disappointed to see Governor Granholm on all of the national stages last night, everywhere. We couldn't get her on the local stage this morning, but the selective indignation, the hypocrisy, and to blame the president for this, to tie it into being, again, a campaign issue is just truly, I think, unfortunate. And the governor said, among other things, no one should tolerate violence against our fellow Americans. Governor, what about all the violence that has taken place that you and so many other Democrats and the institutional media has ignored with the violence in our cities, because it was done by people like Black Lives Matter or others who were clearly destroying people and their lives? It just bothers me tremendously. I don't know if you have any thoughts or feelings.
No, listen, I worked in Chicago, and seeing the violence, and this is not a new problem for Chicago. The violence in those communities has been there for a long time, and doesn't get a lot of attention. The number of shootings and deaths, I think, is significant. And I think we ought to come together on this as a country and say we're not going to tolerate that anymore, and not and avoid this hard decisions we're going to have to make to offer real solutions in there on education and opportunity and other things. That said, the fact that we had a domestic terrorism group try to overthrow the government. Remember, the indictment was on this governor, which is terrible, and it's awful and bad for her family. But they also talked about storming the Capitol. They don't like any politicians. They're not, and they certainly don't like the federal government. You can imagine, I was a former FBI guy. I bumped into a few of these folks that believe this in my days in Congress, and I was not their most favorite, political actor. These are the kind of folks that believe the only legitimate law enforcement are elected sheriffs. I mean, they have some pretty extreme views. Not all of them will go to this, but it's certainly something that you have to identify with. That, hey, they present some danger to the state because they just don't believe in the federal government at all. And so the fact that part got politicized, and now they're fighting back and forth because, by the way, both one party believes that this gives them an advantage going into an election. I mean, shame on politics in 2020. It's gotten to I'd say it's gotten to a new low, but I'm not sure that's true. We still have 3 weeks left. I'm sure there's
worried.
more lows for us to have.
I'm worried it could get lower. Congressman Mike Rogers, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Great to see you.
Great seeing you as well. Our WJR Business Beat, Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of Startup Nation, spotlighting the entrepreneurial tech and startup community on WJR. Good morning to you, Jeff.
Good morning, Paul. It's fascinating to monitor the changing ways Americans are living in the face of this horrible crisis we've been dealing with and continue to face with COVID-19. And as reported previously on the Business Beat, we see consumer purchasing patterns changing in abrupt ways never before seen. Some sectors decimated while others literally booming. And one such category is seeing a huge lift from the changes carved in the bedrock of the way we live our lives and do our work by COVID-19 is the tech sector. Specifically, tech purchases on items designed to set.
Hello, Tim.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Just want to do a quick mic check for you. Can you talk a little bit for me?
Hi, my name's Tim Grew, and I work for General Motors.
Sounds pretty good, actually. All right. You are on at 7:18, so we'll be putting you in just a few minutes. All right.
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks, sir.
So efficiently. Leverage your new work from home infrastructure to establish the world headquarters of your new business, whether part-time or full-time, right from your home. Start a fun side business to make some extra cash. You don't have to create a revolution. You can set up a Shopify site or one on eBay or Etsy. It's fun, it's exhilarating, and you can now reach a worldwide audience and conduct every aspect of your business right from home. Hey, the time is now. If you need help getting started, check us out at startupnation.com or feel free to reach out to me directly at jeff@startupnation.com. I'll answer every email. I'll give you my best guidance on how to get started now and maybe even make a key connection or two for you to help you get started now. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of startupnation.com, and that's today's Business Beat, brought to you today by Dell Technologies on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
This report is sponsored by safeexcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit safeexcavator.com.
President Donald Trump exclusively on WJR with Rush Limbaugh in our area, noon to 3 today and tonight. Joining Mark Levin. It's all right here at 760 on the AM dial WJR, including our WJR Traffic and Weather First and Dana Clark.
Paul W., earlier accident, Southfield Freeway northbound between Joy Road and Plymouth. That incident is clear. In Bloomfield Township, though, a collision is still there, Square Lake Road at Franklin Road. And a new accident reported in Warren along 14 Mile at Ryan Road. It's partially blocking that intersection. Avoid the area. Slow ride 75 northbound between Crooks and Adams. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Window World. Get a free in-home or virtual estimate for your window, siding, or entry door project. With Window World, celebrate 25 years in business with Window World and get 0% APR financing for 60 months. Call 1-800-NEXT-WINDOW or visit windowworlddetroit.com.
We'll continue with a warmth, unseasonably mild weather, backing off a little bit by the end of the weekend. Clear this morning, sunny this afternoon, high 76 on a south breeze. Some clouds tonight, very mild, 64. Cloud sun tomorrow, 78. Sunday, cloudy with a high of 68. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need to increase federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and childcare programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
America has always taken pride in our ability to innovate and produce. Manufacturing is a pillar in America that enables each of us to support our families and innovate. Manufacturing companies, large and small, are recommitting to that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. And they're committing to Eckhart. Eckhart is helping manufacturing companies reshore jobs to the USA, and they'd like to help you. To learn more about Eckhart, visit EckhartUSA.com. That's ECKHART USA.com. Eckhart, for the life of your line.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
In the campaign for U.S. Senate, the ads supporting John James are so deceitful, broadcast stations had to pull them off the air because they were completely false.
Independent fact checkers have said the attacks on Gary Peters' attendance are untrue.
The fact is, Gary's attendance in the Senate is 99.2%.
Nonpartisan groups have named Gary Peters one of the most bipartisan and effective senators.
And no U.S. senator has written and passed more legislation than Gary Peters over the last 2 years.
But most important for Michigan, Gary Peters has been battling for us, taking on the big drug companies to lower the cost of medicine.
Peters even passed a new law to make generic drugs more affordable.
And no one has fought harder against the insurance companies to protect coverage for people with pre-existing conditions.
Especially in this pandemic, Peters is a leader who understands that your health care matters.
That's Gary Peters, a hands-on senator getting results for you.
I'm Gary Peters, candidate for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Peters for Michigan.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
And thanks to those great sponsors for this opportunity to pay tribute to the hardworking men and women of General Motors. Timothy Grew is the leader of General Motors' global battery cell and electrification strategy. His responsibilities include battery cell production, next-generation electrification strategies. His teams have launched multiple generations of GM electronic propulsion systems, including the Gmc Hummer Ev and an upcoming electronic crossover from Cadillac. Tim, it looks like you have a lot of fun doing what you do.
I don't have a job. I have a hobby that I get paid for, and it's just a great place to work. Yeah.
Isn't that nice? I forgot to mention that before we're done, Tim will sing a song. He'll bring one of those guitars down from the wall.
You don't want to hear that.
He will serenade us. You're an electrifying entertainer, I understand. Hey, that's pretty amazing. It's not lost on anybody that you're going to have the GMC Hummer Ev. Now, here's a vehicle that became famous with the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger jumping out of his big Hummer and talking about it, and everyone said, boy, I want one of those. But the Hummer, that thing, as I understand it, used to burn fuel even when it was parked in the garage, if you know what I'm saying. It used a lot.
That's okay. I'm with you, Paul. I'm hanging in.
It used a lot of fuel, so it's just fascinating and fabulous that now you have an electric.
Yeah, it's really interesting on how much the technology has changed in just a short amount of time in these product cycles. If you look at our electric vehicle Hummer, we call it an EV Hummer, it actually has 1,000 horsepower and 1,150 foot-pounds of torque on it. So you can do the rock climb, you can make all that happen in an incredibly efficient way.
Absolutely incredibly efficient. And I think the heart of your whole EV strategy is this modular propulsion system. And, you do have some kind of your proprietary battery. Is it Ultium batteries?
Yeah, we call the whole propulsion system the Ultium propulsion system, but the DNA building block that we have is this Ultium battery cell. And it doesn't look like the cells that you're used to. For those on the webcast, you can kind of see this is one of the new battery cells that we have.
Wow.
It's
much
a nice,
smaller.
It's smaller, it's rectangular, it stacks in the vehicle very, very high power density and torque density. And by taking these pieces of this battery and hooking it together inside the vehicle, you get these impressive results.
Other impressive results that are extremely important as we grow the EVs is the improvement in battery costs. And I know that's a big part of what you've accomplished.
Yeah, if you look at what happened, it was technology plus manufacturing knowledge to get the cost down. Now, of course, the basic technology that goes into the battery is a lot of chemistry. But then how do you make that chemistry real for the customer? We've got a joint venture where we're launching a great factory in Ohio with LG Chem to make those batteries, to have it be perfect quality, high volume cost reduction, and all of this capability all at the same time. And then we make it so that when the next chemistry comes out or some other improvement happens, we can reuse that capital and keep this product line going throughout the years.
And I guess something that's very important too is, Tim, you want to make sure you have customers, people who want this. And I think that and you certainly have found in your own research, Tim, that the customer acceptance has continues to grow right now.
Yeah, if you look at our experience, we have the Bolt EV on the road today. And through our telematics and our OnStar systems, we're able to watch how they use their vehicles with them, with their permission, and then actually improve every experience that they have with it. And so customer acceptance is a big part. Now, of course, everybody's going to love a 1,000 horsepower Hummer. And that's going to be a very exciting vehicle. But now, how does it work?
In 11 days, you'll be introducing that. By the way, the countdown is underway. 11 days from right now.
It's 11 days, and I'm really looking forward to it. I tell you, it's an exciting product. And now you have to say, well, okay, now I've got the 1,000 horses pulling for me. Now, how do I live with them every day? How do I make it convenient for them so that they don't have to worry about going to a fueling station when once a week or when it's inconvenient for them? You can charge right at home, or you can go to one of these fast charges that are all around the area to say, I want to go get a quick charge because I'm going to go get ready and take a long trip. And so that whole customer experience has been part of the balance as to, 350 miles is a long range Hummer, but now how do you make it convenient so you can use the 350 miles in any way that you may need to in your lifestyle?
Last question. Are we, or how close are we to making the whole EV program, the whole generation of GM's future EV programs, profitable?
If you look at everything that happens here, we've said that we are beating our cost targets. We're going to be less than $100 a kilowatt hour at full scale production today when we go into this Hummer EV type battery cell and other system with it. And so it's our job to get there so that it can be profitable and sustainable for all of our customers.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you, Tim. We'll look forward to the introduction of the Hummer. Will Arnold Schwarzenegger have anything to do with this Hummer?
I don't know about that. Just tune in and you'll find out.
All right. Okay. The advertising folks are very happy that you played it just like that, Tim. Thanks so much for being with us.
Have a great day.
Tim Grew, Director of Global Battery Cell Engineering and Strategy for General Motors. We're featuring the hardworking men and women of GM here on this Friday morning edition of the Paul W. Smith Show, and staying on top of the top stories of the day regarding our governor, the militia, the FBI, state police, and local agencies that did great work and thwarted their plan. Coming up, we'll check some news and information, but at 7:31, we've got our WJR Traffic and Weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Fresh Time Farmers Market. It's no surprise that healthy living begins with what we eat. Stop by Fresh Time Market for extra large red, green, or black seedless grapes, 99 cents a pound. Now through October 13th, you can trust Fresh Time to bring you real food at real affordable prices.
Have an accident, Paul W. M14, well, 14 mile, I should say, 14 mile at Ryan Road. Accident partially blocking that intersection. Avoid the area. Also in Bloomfield Township, Square Lake Road at Franklin Road. Accident causing minor delays. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Great day ahead this Friday. Lots of sunshine and a high of 75. Currently clear skies, 44 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 1 minute.
I'm Joe Gannon. Do you know the best washer and dryer made today? What comes from China or Korea? And what was manufactured in the good old USA? You're going to find out when I return this weekend.
Giving tips and advice on home appliances and helping consumers for 36 years. Joe Gannon is the appliance doctor on the Home and Appliance Show. Weekend morning 6 to 8 on News Talk 760 WJR.
2020 took a different path than we expected, but it definitely didn't slow our pace. Planet M has helped private and public entities work together to advance the future of mobility technology along a challenging course. Working together has been the key to staying on the right path. So whether you're just getting started or already an industry leader, Planet M is your connection to Michigan's mobility ecosystem and our future. If you're ready to make a move with your business, see how we can help at planetm.com/pure-partnership.
13 members of 2 militia groups are held in jails today facing federal and state charges of a plot to kidnap the governor and storm the state capitol. The authorities say they wanted to start a civil war before the election. The FBI says they were angry over the governor's COVID restrictions. President Trump and Governor Whitmer have exchanged Twitter messages criticizing the other. The governor blames Trump for encouraging extreme groups. Trump says Whitmer has done a terrible job and that he rejects violence. The former FBI agent in charge in Detroit, Andrew Arena, told Paul W. that more arrests could be made. Arena says these extreme groups have been growing in recent years. The president is ready to get back on the campaign trail. Here's Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith.
President Trump says he feels well enough to campaign again. He says he plans to take a COVID test later today to prove it. He also had plenty to say last night in an interview with our own Sean Hannity.
I think I'm going to try doing a rally on Saturday night. If we have enough time to put it together. It's incredible what's going on. I feel so good. They found very little infection or virus, if any.
Late Thursday, the White House released a new memo from the president's physician. Dr. Sean Conley says the president has responded, quote, extremely well to treatment. And the doctor believes the president can hold events again starting on Saturday.
Nancy Pelosi says she may unveil a bill today creating a commission with the power to remove a sitting president. Police are looking for 3 men after a homeowner was shot during a home invasion overnight in West Bloomfield. Movie theaters reopen today in Michigan. Theaters will operate at 20% capacity. Patrons have to wear masks unless they're eating something. Paul Glantz of Imagine Theater says what else you'll see.
Stickers on the floor providing for social distancing. They will probably buy their tickets online to create more touchless experience. Refills will come with fresh cups as opposed to reusing cups.
These hand sanitizers all over the place. All the other precautions will be taken. Open bowling will also restart at bowling centers. Hurricane Delta is approaching the U.S. Gulf Coast, tracking toward Louisiana. This year's Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to the UN World Food Program. Soon, recreational marijuana will be available for home delivery in Michigan. An online ordering site Lantern is partnering with a Michigan cannabis group to have it shipped to customers in 1 hour. They say it'll be worry-free home delivery of marijuana. How about $5 General? Dollar General will open new stores with more expensive merchandise. The new stores will feature goods priced at around $5. The Bears defeated Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks last night, 20-19. Dow futures are down. I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. More coming up with Paul W.
Mommy, can you help me with my math?
Hey, sorry, I'm about to start a call. Where's your father?
Hey, bud, I'll be right there. Give me a second with Mommy. Have you seen this mailer from Gary Peters?
Who?
Gary Peters.
Should I know him?
Apparently. He's our senator, and now it's an election year, so I'm sure he hopes so.
Some senator he is.
Yeah, I've seen the ads and decided to look things up myself. Turns out he's pretty much the Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man?
Yeah, he's been a politician in Michigan for 30 years.
Oh, he must have done something for us in that time.
Sure, if you count voting to raise our taxes 106 times.
He voted to take our money.
Yeah, and get this, he skipped work while getting rich in public office, blew off 84% of small business hearings and 80% of hearings on pandemic preparedness while doubling his personal wealth.
And now he wants our vote.
Dad!
Okay, I'm coming.
Hank has joined the meeting.
Hey, Hank, you won't believe what I just heard about Gary Peters.
Who? I'm John James. I'm running for the Senate, and I approve this ad.
Paid for by John James for Senate.
Getting the most out of your Social Security benefits is one of the keys to help build the best financial situation for your retirement. However, achieving this on your own requires you to know and understand all of the rules, all of the various filing strategies, and then how those decisions will impact you and your family's future. No sweat, right? Well, if you'd like to learn more about those filing strategies that you may be able to use, make your reservation for Osawala Financial Group's Claiming Your Social Security webinar, October 14th at noon. There's no cost, no obligation, and it's a webinar, so you can attend from the comfort of your own home or office. If you have $500,000 saved and are within 10 years of retirement or already retired, sign up by visiting our events page at ofgwealth.com. That's the events page at ofgwealth.com. Investment advisory services offered through Barber Financial Group, Inc., DBA Osawala Financial Group, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
You're hearing The Paul W. Smith Show, News Talk 760, WJR.
Imagine this, if you would. You're a 20-something journalist. You happen to be a British journalist. The London Daily Express says, we've got an assignment. First of all, in your 20s, you get an assignment from the London Daily Express. You're thrilled, whatever it is. And then they say, we want you to travel with this band. They've got a summer tour, 1964 summer tour. We want you to travel with them, live with them, hang out with them, get to know them, and write about them. Well, imagine what that would be like. No pun intended. It was indeed the Beatles on their 1964 summer tour. And our guest got to live that life and continues to live it and to write about it. London-born Ivor Davis first came to America in the early 60s, appointed West Coast correspondent for the London Daily Express. And on this, the day John Lennon should have turned 80, we have the pleasure of speaking with Ivor. Good morning, Ivor. Welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for having me on.
Well, it is our pleasure, and what an opportunity. When did you realize that this was not just an assignment from the London Daily Express, that this, in fact, would quite possibly, if you did realize it back then, quite possibly become a history in the making or historic moment in your life and in the world?
The answer to that question, Paul, is I didn't realize that I was in the midst of rock and roll history. Because after all, the Beatles didn't know they were about to become classics, because they thought they would last 5 years at the most. And when I traveled with them in 1964, it was crazy. It was insane, every city. And when we were in Detroit, for example, they sold out the place. And I suddenly saw these young men from Liverpool, England, conquering America. All over the country, it was the same. Jam-packed stadiums, screaming girls, screaming so loud, Paul, that I couldn't hear what they were singing. I wondered, they said, I want to hold your what? And I didn't quite know what they wanted to hold. So the answer to your question, Paul, is that. And I've got a question for you. I know you're asking me. I guess you were probably 10 or 11 at the time. Did they register with you?
You're absolutely right. It's funny you say that, because I was lamenting in my mind for the millionth time. I was about 10 when they came to Detroit. My next door neighbor, literally the girl next door, Marie Merman, and her friend Shelley Woodward, who lived around the corner, got their mom to take them to the concert in Detroit. They probably asked if I wanted to go, and I had no interest. I have kicked myself
literally till I can't stand it, that I chose not to go. But you're right. If I had gone, I wouldn't have really heard anything, because I remember well when we tried to watch them on the Ed Sullivan Show. You really couldn't hear what they were singing.
Yeah, and part of the problem, Paul, was that Marie and Shelley were screaming from start to finish, weren't they?
They were indeed. And I'm sure they'll never forget it. And I would say initially, those of us of a certain age will never forget the Beatles, but for generations, the Beatles have influenced music in such an incredible way. Look, every generation thinks they have their Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra or whatever, but I have to tell you, it'd be hard to argue. There's never been anybody who has influenced a genre, influenced what it is they did and everyone did after them, like the Beatles. Never.
And their longevity is astounding, because today, as you said, John would have been 80 years of age, and you just sit back and you think he was a great, great talent. What would have happened if he'd lived till 80? And I sometimes chew that over in my mind and wonder, having got to know John, he was quite a character, as I'm sure you know, a brilliant mind, a bit of a genius, really, whose life was sadly, tragically snuffed out so early.
40 years of age. Imagine what the next 40 years might have been, but that's not to take away from everything that he did accomplish with those three other buddies. But you were closer to John than any of the other Beatles. Why was that?
Well, very simply, it was this. Although I ghost wrote a column for George Harrison, I wasn't that close to George, because George was taciturn, not as outspoken as the other boys. But John was brilliant. Even then, back in the 60s, I always say that I think the other person I met in show business who had such a lightning mind, had such a quick wit, who was so funny, was Robin Williams. I'm sure many of your listeners remember Robin Williams. Yes. John was the English Robin Williams. He provoked you. He loved to needle you. He would have met you, Paul, and he would have immediately tried to get a little bit of a rise out of you. And he did it, and he got his kicks from that.
What great experiences, what great opportunity you had, Ivor Davis, in your 20s, writing for the London Daily Express, assigned to travel with the Beatles on their 1964 summer tour. By your own admission, and you got this from them, they expected maybe to last 5 years. In the years that went by, did you have a chance to interact with them again and get their kind of their feeling, their input, their surprise, their joy in finding out, realizing that they were so much more than they thought they were going to be?
I think I did. I should say that George Harrison broke out on his own and showed that he was not just a Beatle talent, he was a talent in his own right. And as the world knows, Paul now does his own concerts, even in the year 2020, 3 hours and 15 minutes of performance, brilliantly talented, because I want to tell you that when they were in Detroit, I think it was, I can't remember the Olympia Stadium, I think it was.
Right.
They performed for, well, I'm going to ask you this, Paul, in Detroit in 64, how long do you think the Beatles sang for? Take a guess.
I'm going to say 40 minutes.
Well, you're close. 28 minutes, 29 minutes, tops 30 minutes. But it was a joke. They said, we're going to try and break our world record and get it down to 24 minutes. 10 songs in 24 minutes. It's going some, isn't it? Paul, can you imagine paying the money you pay to go and see a rock and roll act for less than half an hour? You would want your money back, wouldn't you?
It's so different. It is so different from today. As you mentioned, Paul McCartney will go 3 hours, 3+. It absolutely a whole different story today. And I wonder, I have no idea that many years ago, 1964, how much it cost to see the Beatles there at Olympia. I have no idea.
I think that the top ticket was about $3.50. So you get for what you pay for.
Do you have anything, before I let you go, and this is a wonderful book, and more importantly, this would be a wonderful gift, The Beatles and Me, on tour with the Beatles, Ivor Davis, the author. It's available online, all the places that you would. But did you keep anything that you have to this day with great pride besides these wonderful memories that you share with us? Was there any other physical memorabilia?
Well, I want to tell you that I could kick myself every day. I kept some of the pictures, fortunately, that I had taken then, and they're in the book. But I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to say, what a dummy you were, Ivor, because I got about a dozen signed photos from the Beatles, and along the way, I gave them away. And if I'd kept them, I would have been a rich man. So there you go.
Well, you know what, Ivor, here's what I know. You're a very nice and generous man to be so willing to give away, regardless of what the value was then or what they became. To give away those autographed pictures was a wonderful thing that you did.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Continued success to you, Ivor, and I can't wait to go through the book. What a wonderful keepsake for any of us who were Beatles fans, and especially poignant to point it out and to let people know about it on what would have been John Lennon's 80th birthday. Thank you, Ivor.
Thank you, Paul, and stay well.
You do the same. As we continue on the Paul W. Smith Show at WJR.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Coming up, Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey, right after we check it. Our WJR Traffic and Weather first with Dana Clark at 7:49.
Accident along 14 Mile at Ryan Road. That is clear. New collision 75 northbound before Crooks, right in that road construction area, slow from Big Beaver. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Clarkson Window and Door. Over 31 years in business, over 450 combined years of experience installing windows. Trusted specialists at Clarkson Window and Door. Act now to take advantage of 31% off install windows, doors, and garage doors. 248-338-6781 or clarksonwindow.com.
The push of warmer air continues on the south breeze, clear and seasonably cool this morning, mostly sunny later, 76. Tonight, almost 20 degrees above average, 64. Suburbs might dip into the 50s. Saturday, cloud, sun, upper 70s. Sunday, a little bit cooler, cloudy highs, upper 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly. Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly who's fair and wise. Kelly has integrity. Kelly has experience. Does everybody here know Kelly? Just for you and me.
For 30 years, Mary Kelly has fought for justice as a prosecutor in St. Clair County, protecting our rights and making communities safer places. On the Supreme Court, Mary Kelly will continue to be a steadfast champion for victims and a passionate advocate for families and children. Mary Kelly is endorsed for Supreme Court justice by the Michigan Chamber of Commerce and over 40 prosecutors across Michigan. For integrity, experience, and fairness, vote Mary Kelly for Supreme Court justice.
Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly. Does everybody here know Kelly? Just for you and me.
Paid for by Michigan Chamber PAC 3 with regulated funds not authorized by any candidate.
Axalta's Color of the Year has been highly anticipated and graciously received. This year, Axalta dove into its trend research and color technology to make a splash. Axalta Global Color Product Manager Nancy Lockhart, tell us what it is.
Axalta's 2020 Automotive Color of the Year is Sea Glass, a striking turquoise blue that captivates with sparkling effects and intense chroma. Inspired by a sense of sustainability in nature, Sea Glass infuses a tranquil yet confident style. Sea Glass evokes the calming, powerful elements found in oceanic depths, while staying on trend with the recent rise of blue vehicles. Sea Glass was formulated with built-in paint technologies that allow vehicle-to-vehicle detection to facilitate the advancement of autonomous mobility. Designed to be seen, Sea Glass brings striking rich color and detectability to the roadways.
For more, visit Axalta.com/color. Axalta Coating Systems, inventors of your favorite color.
With much of Michigan adjusting to a new normal, Henry Ford Health System is all for moving forward. But what does that mean as we continue to battle this pandemic? Right now, moving forward means exploring all the ways to stay active and healthy, like biking, jogging, or yoga, but also understanding how to do them safely. Moving forward also means not delaying important care, whether it's preventive or critical care, because while COVID-19 has our attention now, cancer, heart disease, and diabetes remain serious threats to our health. And of course, moving forward means masking up, because it's the most effective way to protect our loved ones and ourselves. Henry Ford Health System believes that right now, the best way forward is refusing to go back. And we're all for pushing ahead with you. Henry Ford Health System, all for you. Find more ways to move on at henryford.com/onward.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need to increase federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and childcare programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
A great day to talk about to the hardworking men and women of General Motors while staying on topic with the top story of the day as the kidnapping of our governor. The plot was thwarted thanks to excellent police work and reasons, again, not to defund the police. The FBI, state police, and local agencies doing a great job. We were going to speak with Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey about getting back to work yesterday, COVID-19 issues, all of that. But obviously, this is the top story, and I'd love to hear Senator Shirkey, though neither one of you are on either's, let's say, fan club list. I'm sure you have some strong feelings about what has taken place and what almost happened with the governor of the great state of Michigan.
Good morning. A good cup of Joe and a dose of Paul morning to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed, it was just disgusting to see what unfolded. Thank God for the expertise, the technology, and the courage and the grit of our law enforcement across the spectrum. When something like this happens, it's hard to imagine there are others who are calling for, attacking our law enforcement because they are so important, a key part of our culture. But this was, I was pretty quick in my statement. You attack our governor, you attack my governor, you attack all of us. And citizens who will care about government and want to be involved in government and are responsible about government, they vote. And only terrorists resort to the kinds of things that this group was obviously plotting.
You know, it's interesting. The Detroit News in their editorial says, among many other things, more must be done to address the disenfranchisement that pushes individuals to the edges. We've chosen a strategy of shutting down and punishing offensive speech, but that doesn't address the root cause of the hatred. An interesting observation and one that we maybe have to take a serious look at.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up. I have characterized it slightly different, but I think it's along the same line, is that we have a dearth of grace in our culture today. There's no grace on either side. And there's just, the polarization continues to grow in America and, probably also across the world, but especially here in America, the polarization just continues to grow. And we need to endeavor to seek reasons why that exists and ask ourselves, how do we start to shrink that polarization. We have plenty of reasons and plenty of things to talk about and disagree on, but it should never get to this extreme. And, I have joked a little bit, but I'm not so much joking anymore. I think that social media actually contributes in a very material way to this polarization because it gives people platforms that they think are broader than they actually are. And also, I think results in creating false courage. And you start adding all those things up and then superimpose on that a dearth of grace. It's a bad mixture.
That's well put. Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey with us. Then you can imagine my discomfort, my disappointment with our governor and, as it turns out, our lieutenant governor going on national television, and they could not help themselves. It became politicized. Let me quote what our Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist said last night. I think it was CNN, which, by the way, was basically the governor's script as well. This is what Garland said. Before anything was even really discussed about this incredible kidnapping plot, the incredible work that the FBI, state police, local agencies have all done, and why you shouldn't defund police. But this quote, "The thing I think people really need to know is that these people were emboldened by President Donald Trump." Did you hear him say this last night?
I did. Mm-hmm.
All right. Emboldened by President Donald Trump, emboldened by the complicity and encouragement of leaders of the Michigan Republican Party. You'd be one of those, Michael,
right.
Who created the rhetorical space for them to plan these deadly actions. We need to hold those leaders accountable for that and those who have created that culture. Are you kidding me? I mean,
well,
seriously?
You said it best. Unfortunately, they can't help themselves. Everything that they say and everything they do, quite frankly, is done through a filter of politics. There's no rhetoric, no language that I've been seeing of recent to call into question this notion of polarization and going out and actually endeavoring to seek ways in which we can actually sit down and work together. And for either one of them that are very important and very high level influential positions in Michigan to make the claim that anybody is enabling these kinds of actions is just, on its face ridiculous. And I'm sorry that they resort to that, and it hurts my heart that the Michigan citizens have to endure that.
It couldn't be clearer to me, really, now more than ever. Now, I don't hold it against her. I'm just making the observation now more than ever. It appears that Governor Whitmer has been absolutely promised some position in the upcoming Harris administration. I mean, Biden-Harris, for at least a couple of months, administration, should they win in the election. It seems tremendously obvious to me. I mean, she was on all the national platforms several times yesterday. We can't get her on here today in her great state of Michigan, where this all took place.
There is only one conclusion one can draw by the actual behaviors of what's happened over the last 24 to 36 hours, and that is the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is our governor's number one priority and way above the safety and citizens of Michigan.
Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. 8 o'clock, WJR, Detroit.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
We've got at our WJR Traffic and Weather first with Dana just ahead of WJR News.
75 northbound Paul W. before Crooks. Accident right in that road construction area. The left lane is blocked. Slow ride from Big Beaver. Now WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel. Expecting a great day to kick off the weekend. Lots and lots of sunshine. A high of 75 tonight. Partly cloudy skies. Low 65. Clear skies. 43 degrees. I'm Dana Clark. WJR News with Dick Hafner is next.
Mommy, can you help me with my math?
Hey, sorry, I'm about to start a call. Where's your father?
Hey, bud, I'll be right there. Give me a second with Mommy. Have you seen this mailer from Gary Peters?
Who?
Gary Peters.
Should I know him?
Apparently, he's our senator, and now it's an election year, so I'm sure he hopes so.
Some senator he is.
Yeah, I've seen the ads and decided to look things up myself. Turns out he's pretty much the invisible man.
The invisible man?
Yeah, he's been a politician in Michigan for 30 years.
Oh, he must have done something for us in that time.
Sure, if you count voting to raise our taxes 106 times.
He voted to take our money.
Yeah, and get this, he skipped work while getting rich in public office, blew off 84% of small business hearings and 80% of hearings on pandemic preparedness while doubling his personal wealth.
And now he wants our vote.
Dad!
Okay, I'm coming.
Hank has joined the meeting.
Hey, Hank, you won't believe what I just heard about Gary Peters.
Who? I'm John James. I'm running for the Senate, and I approve this ad.
Paid for by John James for Senate.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit. The great voice of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
When did Governor Whitmer learn about the plot to abduct her?
You know, I can't go into too many details because, of course, it's about my security, and that's everything that's at issue right now. However, I can tell you that it came to my attention a number of weeks ago that my detail briefed me on it. And this was a very serious, thought-out plot to kill police officers, to bomb our Capitol, killing press and Democrats and Republicans alike, and to kidnap and ultimately put me on trial and kill me as well.
She was on Good Morning America. More arraignments may take place today for the 13 men charged in the abduction plot. They're members of two anti-government groups. Former FBI special agent in Detroit, Andrew Arena, tells Paul W.
The key to this is going to be the First Amendment, right? You have the right in this country to say just about anything you want. And as you said, I mean, there are a lot of folks out there that are very unhappy, but when you cross that line and start taking proactive measures to do something criminal, then obviously you stepped out from behind the protections of the First Amendment.
President Trump and Governor Whitmer exchanged Twitter messages overnight criticizing each other. The president on how he's feeling on the Hannity TV show.
Well, what we're doing is probably the test will be tomorrow, the actual test, because there's no reason to test all the time. But they found very little infection or virus, if any. I don't know that they found any. I didn't go into it greatly with the doctors. We have these great doctors at Walter Reed.
Trump plans to hold a rally in Florida tomorrow night. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she may introduce a bill that would allow a body appointed by Congress to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. Police are looking for 3 men after a homeowner was shot during a home invasion in West Bloomfield. There's no word on the condition of the homeowner. Police say they don't believe robbery was the motive in this break-in. Movie theaters will reopen in Michigan today. All the safety precautions will be in place. Physical distancing, signs instructing you what to do. Employees will wear masks, hand sanitizing stations all over. Paul Glantz of the Imagine Theaters says,
there will be people perhaps who have health conditions that'll be slower to adopt. But the most important thing to us is with finally reopening, now we get to demonstrate empirically that it is safe.
Open bowling will also return to bowling centers today. Hurricane Delta churning towards St. Charles, Louisiana, with storm warnings and watches in effect.
The main impacts will be storm surge along the coast, hurricane force winds near their landfall point in southwest Louisiana, and then heavy rainfall that will spread across a good portion of Louisiana through the day today into tomorrow.
Football last night, the Bears defeated Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks 20-19. Dow futures are down. I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. More coming up with Paul W.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Tune into The Rich Paul Show, Saturdays at 9 a.m., Mondays at 7 p.m. This week, as we talk investing, finance, and retirement, it's how America saves, along with getting older and wiser. So tune into The Rich Paul Show, Saturdays at 9 a.m., Mondays at 7 p.m. on WJR.
Confidence. It's important to have when you're on the road. Be prepared for whatever cooler weather brings. With a new set of innovative Bridgestone or dependable Firestone tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you're riding on tires you can trust. Bridgestone and Firestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. Bridgestone and Firestone are proud to support their global OE and aftermarket customers. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.
Axalta's Color of the Year has been highly anticipated and graciously received. This year, Axalta dove into its trend research and color technology to make a splash. Axalta Global Color Product Manager Nancy Lockhart, tell us what it is.
Axalta's 2020 Automotive Color of the Year is Sea Glass, a striking turquoise blue that captivates with sparkling effects and intense chroma. Inspired by a sense of sustainability in nature, Sea Glass infuses a tranquil yet confident style. Sea Glass evokes the calming, powerful elements found in oceanic depths while staying on trend with the recent rise of blue vehicles. Sea Glass was formulated with built-in paint technologies that allow vehicle-to-vehicle detection to facilitate the advancement of autonomous mobility. Designed to be seen, Sea Glass brings striking rich color and detectability to the roadways.
For more, visit axalta.com/color. Axalta Coating Systems, inventors of your favorite color.
This is the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. No official auto show taking place this year. We're bringing the show to you. Today's stop highlights General Motors. The WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith is presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. Here's Paul.
Thank you to all those sponsors that make this possible. They have, over the years, made it possible for us to broadcast from near and far at auto shows, from as far away as China or Japan, and Geneva, Switzerland, Paris, France, Frankfurt, Germany. I hope I'm not leaving anyone out. But, of course, New York, Chicago, and, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the North American International Auto Show, which we look forward to coming up in 2021. It's Friday!
Yay!
Oh, you can say that again.
Yay!
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On this Friday, October 9th, the 283rd day of 2020, with 83 days left in the year. Make each and every day count. Each day is a gift. This is an especially important gift to a very, very nice man. A man who is a study in perseverance, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and forgiveness and grace. And that's largely missing in parts of our society today, as we discussed earlier. The man is the man you heard in the news just a moment ago with Dick Hafner, the chairman of Imagine Entertainment, Paul Glantz. And today is a very, very special day. Paul, good morning and congratulations. It's about time.
Well, thank you very much, Paul W. I just wish I could live up to all those kind accolades you've made. But today is indeed very special. It's important that we restart our economy, and it's great to be reopening 9 Michigan theaters today.
All 9 of the Imagine Michigan theaters, Birch Run, Canton, Heartland, Macomb, Novi, Palladium, Rochester Hills, Royal Oak, Saline, and the Riviera, powered by Imagine. You can always go to imagineentertainment.com for more information and for the movies, because the movie industry has been kind of crippled. So you will have some new movies to offer as well as some classics, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Paul. There's a big Christopher Nolan film that's being released in Michigan now called Tenet, T-E-N-E-T. And it's directed, as I said, by Christopher Nolan, released by Warner Brothers. That's going to be a big picture, I believe. It's been doing well internationally in particular.
We're going to be talking about it with Greg Russell of Movie Show Plus. We'll be talking about Tenet at about 8:18, in fact.
I'll be tuning in.
Excellent. I interrupted to give you that little factoid, but the New Mutants, Unhinged, The War with Grandpa, we're going to talk about that as well. Broken Hearts Gallery and Coco. And you are these new hours that you're offering and new days that you're open?
You know, we're going to open 5 days a week. We're going to be closed on Mondays and Wednesdays just until the business comes back a little bit. But for the most part, we're going to be open and trying to satisfy demand on 5 days as opposed to 7.
And you've got those big, beautiful theaters. You have some limitations, but I think you'll be able to handle those limitations, even though there's a pent-up demand to go to the movies. And you're doing something, Paul Glantz, that is extra special and plays right into what I was saying by way of compliments about you, because it's just the way you are. You have a wonderful thank you to the courageous frontline workers. Tell us about it.
We do, Paul. You know, we are truly grateful to the frontline workers for their efforts throughout this pandemic. And so in response to that and our way of saying thanks, we're providing a free ticket this week, along with that for a significant other, so that the first line worker and his or her significant other can join us for a free film.
Absolutely great. All they need to do is bring their ID that indicates that they are medical, healthcare, telecommunications, information technology, systems, defense, food, agriculture. There's a lot of areas where you're helping people. Just bring your ID, your ID badge, name tag, whatever it is, to the theater when you purchase your tickets. Valid in theater only, day of showing, and is first come, first served. I can almost smell the popcorn popping, because you have the best popcorn in the world. You have the kind I like with butter, real butter, and you have the kind that much healthier people like, popped in, what is it, olive oil or something?
Olive Pop, yep.
Olivia Pop. Okay, Olive Pop. All right.
Olive Pop.
Yeah, I hear it's really good. I'm not going to find out right now, though. Maybe after a while. But, Paul, anything else we need to know?
Paul, that's it. I just want to be sure that you know that those frontline workers include firefighters, public safety, as well as our teachers.
Well, I saw a list, and then I realized I couldn't read the whole list. It's a big list. So you're being very generous, which is why I say you're a study in perseverance, forgiveness, grace, and so many other things that's largely, sadly, missing in our society. You're showing no signs of bitterness after losing over $40 million when you could have gotten back to work and you could have opened your theaters. You don't look back. You only look forward. You are an excellent lesson and a study in how we should all be in so many different ways. Paul, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. You're very kind.
Paul Glantz, chairman of Imagine Entertainment. They open today. Thank goodness. It is almost 8:15 at WJR.
This report is sponsored by MGM Grand Detroit. At MGM Grand Detroit, they can't wait to see you again. They look a little different as they've made changes for your health and safety to ensure your visit will still be a grand time. They hope to see you soon. And remember to always mask up. 21 plus.
We've got it. We've got our WJR Traffic and Weather first, and Dana Clark.
And we are still watching that accident in that road construction area along 75 northbound right before Crooks in that Troy area. Traffic is backed up from at least Rochester Road. The left lane is blocked. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel.
Well, warm weather continues. Slight cool down by the end of the weekend, but still staying above the average high, which is 65. Off to a beautiful start today. Clear skies, sunny later. A south breeze, 76 should do it. Tonight, 64. The average low is 46. Tomorrow, cloud, sun, upper 70s. Sunday, cloudy with highs in the upper 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
8-16, 43 degrees on this Friday morning edition of the Paul W. Smith Show, WJR. Another beautiful, sunny morning. Enjoy it while you can. Over the years, our Michigan communities have been through many ups and downs, and this year, of course, without question, one of the most difficult we face together. But it brings comfort to know that when it comes to our health, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan continues to be here for it all. For 81 years, Blue Cross has been committed to helping everyone in Michigan achieve better health, and to strengthening our communities. That's why they work with doctors in every county, providing insurance to people in every zip code, while also providing needed funds to care for the uninsured in free clinics across Michigan. And as we all look to the future, Blue Cross will be here, providing members on-demand access to the care they need through Blue Cross online visits, a 24-hour nurse line, and the Blue Cross mobile app. For generations, Blue Cross has stood behind their members' care and the communities we call home. Blue Cross is here for it all and always will be. You can learn more, in fact, at hereforitall.com. Hereforitall.com. 8:17 to the movies in just a moment.
At Beaumont, we're always ready for change. So when our community needs us, we create change to serve you even better. One person on the front line of that change.
For pediatric patients, our extra masks, gloves, and goggles can be a bit scary. So our pediatric nurses and child life specialists take the time to ensure our patients feel safe and cared for.
At Beaumont, we know change is constant, but the only thing that won't change is our commitment to you.
Hi, folks. Craig Hubble, General Manager at Crestview Cadillac in Rochester. I want to assure you, every single Crestview Cadillac we deliver is thoroughly sanitized with CDC-approved best practices. This is a top priority for us. We can handle all your paperwork online, and we can deliver your new Cadillac right to your door, anywhere, fully sanitized. We're experts at employee pricing. We pull ahead.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Dana, how are you?
How are ya?
Good, and you?
Good, good, good. Happy Friday.
And happy Friday to you, too.
Past few months have been anything but normal. We face challenges we've never experienced before. Yet, due to everyone's efforts, progress has been made. Infection and hospitalization counts are down, and the death rate is extremely low.
Can you guys hear me?
Together, we have flattened the curve. Good. But remember, continue to follow CDC guidelines to keep you and your family safe. For more information, go to macomb.gov.org.
America has always taken pride in our ability to innovate and produce. Manufacturing is a pillar in America. That enables each of us to support our families and communities. Manufacturing companies, large and small, are recommitting to that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. And they're committing to Eckhart. Eckhart is helping manufacturing companies reshore jobs in the USA. And they'd like to help you. To learn more about Eckhart, visit EckhartUSA.com. That's ECKHARTUSA.com. Eckhart, for the life of your line.
Come on. At Fisher Investments, we do things differently.
I mean, that's
and other
selective
money managers
indignation.
don't understand why.
No one should tolerate
works great for us, but it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is the fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commission, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients.
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different.
I'm sorry.
Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch
Did anybody
to us.
call me?
Fisher Investments, clearly different money
Oh,
managers.
did he? No, I tagged him though. He didn't respond.
Welcome back
Oh
to
my
the
gosh, if
W
he called, I'd really pass out.
Paul W. Smith, presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
Well, all right. We're back on social media for the next two conversations, including Philip Brook coming up, Vice President of Buick and GMC Marketing, and we have Derek Hewlett is weighing in there from our friends over at the car dealership and doing a nice job. And there's just a lot of people that watch us and listen to us. And that's especially true on Fridays when we welcome in Greg Russell of Movie Show. Plus. There's the music. There we are. It's official now. And good morning to Greg Russell and Dana Clark, who are going to take us
good morning to you, Paul W. And hello, Dana.
Hello. We can actually go to the movies now, right?
Yeah.
What? And Paul Glantz, we just spoke with Imagine Theater is featuring both of these movies, The War with Grandpa and Tenet. But wait a minute.
What's that? Oh,
on
the
your
Beatles.
T-shirt, is that what would have been the 80th birthday of John Lennon? You're wearing that iconic Beatles crossing the street. I'm so fortunate, lucky enough to have walked on that very street, and everybody recreates that photo. Everybody. It's like people are lined up to recreate that.
Walk across several times.
Surprised they let traffic still go by on that.
I've seen people, like you said, either darn near get hit or have to jump on the hood of a car because
cars don't care anymore. The cars are like probably sick and tired, but it is a crosswalk and they're supposed to slow down. It's just that there's times during the day when they'll never be able to go because people are on it so much. Oh, I did not take my shoes and socks.
Same here.
off,
I'm
though.
always Paul. I'm always third. But yeah, I'm keeping the shoes on because I don't care.
I'm always Paul too, but I can't do anything about that. All right. Take us to the movies.
We got two that people can actually go to the movies and see. We can start out with Tenet. We'll start out with the heavier one first. John David Washington is in this movie, and he basically is like this operative agent. And it's spy, like a spy movie, and a little bit of science fiction where people keep coming back in time. And the thing is, we can keep doing that as long as we don't run into ourselves, at any particular point. It's like, especially you run into you 20 years ago, and it's like, God, I had a 30-inch waist. What the heck? But,
and this is Denzel's son, you have to say.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to say, a lot of people don't know who he is.
But you can tell when you hear him talk. He sounds just like his father, and has that same Denzel walk that he has.
Swag.
Yeah. But he does an excellent job and has become a great actor, or good actor, I should say, in his own right. And it's one of those where when I got to talk with him, I brought this line up to him. I said, people have asked me after I saw it, what can you say about it? And my deal was, watch it on your own, because there's no real way to describe this. So he told me, he says, I'm going to steal that line and use it myself, because it is one of those where you may have to see it 2 or 3 times, because none of us actually, after it was all over, had the same reaction to the ending. I saw it going one way, and be like you, Paul W., seeing it another way, and Dana, you seeing it going, several ways. So it is an interesting movie. Christopher Nolan, of course, is the director of this. So it's one where, you want to kind of like get your mind going. Check it out this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's one of these villages like
a little bit of Tenet.
Traveling forwards through time. The other one's going backwards. Can you tell which is which?
Why does it feel so strange?
You're not shooting the bullet. You're catching it.
Whoa. Time isn't the problem. Getting out alive is the problem.
Seems like you got to pay attention. You can't fall asleep on this one, right?
Right. You really do. You
don't fall asleep on. Yeah. So what are the two of you giving this? Dana, are you weighing in? You haven't
like out of our 4, definitely 2.5 to 3. And the only reason I put it that way, because you may come out just going, I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
You broke up 3.5
out of our 4, 2.5 to a 3. Yeah, only because you may come out of it just going,
2.5.
I didn't understand it, didn't get it, duh. Or you may come out just going, I got to see this again just to see. Because it is one of those, once it gets to the end, you'll start thinking back to everything from the beginning.
Okay.
Just to see. So, we'll give it a 3. So, check it out. They've been waiting for it as well.
The next one, I saw a promo for it on television, and I was really seriously worried for Robert De Niro. He looked like he was like really pushing himself and sweating profusely, is from what I don't know if he was in the rain or if he was sweating profusely. Let's listen to a bit of the
You're
War
not putting
with
me in
Grandpa.
a home. What if it were our home?
Grandpa!
Jenny!
Hi, Grandpa.
Hello, sweetheart. How's your daughter's place at? She gave me my grandson's room. He's not too happy about it.
How do you like your room?
Kid looking. I didn't want it to be this way either.
I just want my room back.
Declaration of war. Give me back what is mine or face the consequences. Okay. You got your wish.
So let me get this straight. You want me to help you and your buddies, to help beat up your grandson and his buddies because the two of you can't figure out some way to live in the same house?
Well, when you put it like that.
I'm in.
It's always a war when the grandparents or your aunt comes to your house and they get your room. It's like, why do you always have to take my room?
Right. And that's how the grandson felt, because he all of a sudden got moved up to the attic, which he hated. When in reality, most of us as a kid, if you were getting your own attic room,
yeah, you'd love it.
Oh, great. Come on in, Grandpa. But it's a fun little adventure where they're both going at it. And there's one scene in particular I got to talk to Robert De Niro about in this movie that kind of took me back to one of his old movies where he and the grandson are both going head to head against each other. And Paul W., there's this one part, they go out to go fishing. They're standing next to the fishing boat. They've got on the fisherman type hats. And only thing I saw was Fredo in The Godfather getting ready to go out on that fishing expedition with that guy. And I'm thinking, he's ready to Fredo his grandson.
Yeah.
What's going on here? But Jane Seymour is also in the movie, Cheech Marin, Christopher Walken, and another one.
Who is very scary, by the way. That's a scary guy.
Oh, Christopher?
Yes.
You're talking about in real life.
This one, again, this will be a fun thing, especially like if you've got grandkids.
Yeah,
you can watch with them, where you're looking at them, telling them, "You don't do this.
Don't try it."
You're going, ha ha ha. So, but it's a fun movie, and I just have to throw this one last part in. We've interviewed De Niro a lot of times over the past 20 years. Always cordial, but always short with his answers. I couldn't get him to shut up this time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? It looks like Home Alone, Greg. Is it like Home Alone?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
But he just, kept going. But yeah, a couple of fun ones. Like you said, go to the Imagine Theater, get some of their delicious popcorn. I know Paul W. will be there especially. And enjoy.
Hey, Greg, you should write a book on all these people that you've met. You know?
I've thought about that. Yeah. I mean, I've thought about that. That would be fun to do.
Greg Russell of Movie.
Moving.
Plus. We'll look forward to seeing you in your T-shirt later on Channel 4.
Absolutely. I'm keeping this on all day for John. Thank you, Paul W.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Dana. Thank you to our listeners as we continue on WJR at 829.
This report is sponsored by Fresh Time Farmers Market. It's no surprise that healthy living begins with what we eat. Stop by Fresh Time Market for extra large red, green, or black seedless grapes, 99 cents a pound. Now through October 13th, you can trust Fresh Time to bring you real food at real affordable prices.
Let's check it. Our WJR traffic and weather, Miss Dana Clark.
75 northbound before Crooks Road, earlier accident. Still there. You are backed up from at least Rochester Road. The left lane is blocked. Also construction barrels through that stretch. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the law firm of Victoria Divorce and Family Law for women only. Family members and friends pass this information on to your loved ones. Asset protection, best interest of the children. The conversation starts with the law firm of Victoria. Call 248-723-1600, victorialawfirm.com. No complaints in the weather department, starting with today. Lots of sunshine, a high of 75. Tonight, partly cloudy. Not as cool, a low 65. For Saturday, clouds in the morning. Could see a scattered thunderstorm in the afternoon, but definitely not an all-day rain, a high of 77. A little cooler on Sunday. Some clouds, some sun, up to 66. Clear skies, 43 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 1 minute.
DTE wants you to use less energy and save more. Water heating alone consumes about 90% of the energy it takes to operate a clothes washer. So increase efficiency by washing in cold water and cleaning the filter on your dryer after each load. To get more tips, qualify for rebates, recycle appliances, or shop for
Hello, Phil. Can you hear me? Phil?
I can. Can you hear me? Okay.
Good.
Hello,
wanted
can
to
you
check
hear me?
We've got you coming up shortly. I just wanted to check your mic and make sure we could hear you.
Yep. So I'm okay.
Yep, you sound good. All right, Paul will be back with you in just a few minutes, all right?
Thank you very much.
that President Trump will be on the Limbaugh show for all 3 hours today. The Rush Limbaugh show starts after the 12 noon news here on WJR. The president was on the Hannity TV show to discuss how he's feeling.
I just saw the doctors today. They think I'm in great shape. I'm in great shape.
Did you test negative?
Good shape in that. And I'll tell you, I took this Regeneron. It's phenomenal. And Eli Lilly has something very comparable. It's phenomenal. And it's a whole new day.
Trump plans a rally in Florida on Saturday night. Trump and Governor Whitmer have traded Twitter messages criticizing each other in the aftermath of the arrests of the 13 men for what the authorities say were plots to abduct and possibly kill the governor. Whitmer told CNN,
after a plot to kidnap and to kill me, this is what they come out with. They start attacking me, as opposed to what good, decent people would do is to check in and say, are you okay? Which is what Joe Biden did.
Whitmer says she learned about the plot against her a few weeks ago. Several of the 13 men charged in the plots have been arraigned and are jailed on high bonds. The authorities say there could be more arrests. The governor's number one nemesis in Lansing, Republican Senate leader Mike Shirkey, told Paul W.
The election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is our governor's number one priority and way above the safety and citizens of Michigan.
That was in light of President Trump's encouraging hate groups. According to the governor, Shirkey, however, says that he equates these men who were in the plots to terrorists. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she may introduce a bill allowing a body appointed by Congress to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. Police are looking for 3 men after a homeowner was shot during a home invasion in West Bloomfield. Police say they don't believe robbery was the motive for this overnight break-in. Movie theaters can reopen in Michigan today. All the safety precautions will be in effect. Also, open bowling can now resume at bowling centers. The ratings for the vice presidential debate, they were up 58 million viewers, according to Nielsen. The highest ratings were on Fox of the 18 networks and cable channels that carried it. There'll be an online tribute concert and a box set release to mark what would have been the 80th birthday of John Lennon today. The motel used in the TV show that we will call It's Creek, you can't say the real name on radio here. Well, it's a real motel. It's in Orangeville, Ontario, and it's for sale. The Dow Jones futures are down. I'm Dick Hafner, WJR News. More coming up with Paul W.
Confidence. It's important to have when you're on the road. Be prepared for whatever cooler weather brings. With a new set of innovative Bridgestone or dependable Firestone tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you're riding on tires you can trust. Bridgestone and Firestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. Bridgestone and Firestone are proud to support their global OE and aftermarket customers. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.
This is Mike Donovan, host of Not Free America on Sundays at 5 p.m. right here on WJR AM 760 in Detroit. This weekend on Not Free America Radio, economic disaster looms as our GDP crashes. What does losing a third of our economy really mean? Meanwhile, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo takes quarantining travelers to a new extreme. And we talk facts about qualified immunity in the American police state. Join us Sundays at 5 p.m. right here on Not Free America Radio.
America has always taken pride in our ability to innovate and produce. Manufacturing is a pillar in America. That enables each of us to support our families and innovate. Manufacturing companies, large and small, are recommitting to that beautiful phrase, made in the USA. And they're committing to Eckhart. Eckhart is helping manufacturing companies reshore jobs to the USA, and they'd like to help you. To learn more about Eckhart, visit EckhartUSA.com. That's ECKHART USA.com. Eckhart, for the life of your line.
How did we ever come to the belief that we have no control over the inevitability of heart attack or stroke? That it was somehow predestined in our genes, inherited, or inevitable due to some random chance that outsmarted the medical field? We've come to accept these two fallacies, but the fact is that heart attack and stroke are 100% preventable, and cardiac disease is reversible. It's not in the genes, it's in your profile. It's time to take charge of your health. Call Dr. Brian Collender at 866-KOLENDER.
We know your passion for cars, so join AAA and celebrate the automobile virtually the week of October 5th. We'll be showcasing cars, giving away some great prizes, and taking you behind the scenes with partners you know and love, like the Henry Ford Museum and Lingenfelter Performance Engineering. The best part is that it's all online. So join us on your schedule and participate on your time. You can find us under the events tab at our Facebook page at facebook.com/AAA Michigan.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
And we've been saluting the hardworking men and women of General Motors. We have another one who represents a good deal of success and a great number of people. He is the vice president of Buick and GMC marketing. We welcome Mr. Philip Brook to the Paul W. Smith Show and our special show featuring General Motors. Nice to see you, Philip. Nice to have you here with us.
Nice to be here. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, there
can you hear me?
It's good to see you again. Yes, I can indeed. This is what happens when people do these kinds of little connections. Sometimes they're not as fast as usual, but we're glad that you're here and we're able to talk about some things that I happen to think you have. One of the most exciting things to talk about would be in 11 days, the introduction of the EV Hummer. That's a big deal. People are pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. It's pretty crazy here at the moment from a work perspective. And thanks for reminding me it's only 11 days away. We had a lot to do between now and then, but it's progressing really, really well, and all hands on deck. And we just can't wait. You know, the vehicle is stunning. It's incredibly innovative. I think people will be blown away when they see it. And what we've got is a reveal campaign, a marketing campaign around that's every bit as innovative, and we can't wait to roll that out.
Well, and let's face it, you had a very important tease that was a very big deal in the Super Bowl. I would think that it would be fair to say, all puns intended, this is not Arnold Schwarzenegger's Hummer.
No, definitely not. This is all electric, zero emission, and it's very much a modern incarnation, I guess, of something from the past, and we're super excited about it. We're very, very proud of the work that's been done by the engineering and development team and the design team, and I think people are going to be blown away when they see it.
All right. Philip Brook, not to put you in a awkward spot, a bit of a pickle. Is it LeBron James's Hummer, and might he be a part of the big rollout in 11 days?
Yeah, look, he's been involved. He's an ambassador of ours for Hummer Ev. He was involved in the Super Bowl spot. He'll have a role as we roll it out. He's fairly busy right at the moment. Playing a bit of basketball and doing very well. So he will be part of the campaign. But when it breaks next week, I think you'll be impressed. It's not your typical 30-second television commercial, and that's it. It's going to be a very, very large scale, multi-platform, multi-screen reveal event. Big news, I think, is it's 8 p.m. on October 20th, so a week from next Tuesday. And if you're tuning into Game 1 of the World Series, you'll see the vehicle in that. And also around about the same time, it'll be on The Voice, and we've got a whole lot of follow-up after that. But 8 p.m. on gmc.com is when everyone will get to see the whole picture, so to speak.
Could you give that again, Phil, that address?
8 p.m. On October 20th, and
right.
gmc.com.
gmc.com. GMC, for 110 years, GMC has been doing premium trucks and SUVs, pretty rather incredible. And now this new revolutionary Hummer EV that everyone's very excited about, 8 p.m., October 20th, 11 days from right now with that debut. And you can go to www.gmc.com, as you mentioned, in the World Series, on The Voice, and all of that. And is this the sort of thing that which has happened lately? People will be able to put in an order for it before it's actually available?
Yeah, that's an important point. So 8 p.m. on October 20, we'll show the car, take you through the all the details on it, and allow customers who are interested to make a reservation. It's a very, very simple, 4-step process. Choose your trim, choose your dealer, put in your details, and then basically confirm the reservation. There's a $100 reservation fee that will be associated with that, and it's going to be very, very exciting. So it's important that if you're interested, put it in your calendar and get in quick.
Yeah, don't miss out. I think it's going to sell very, very well as it rolls off the GM Detroit Hamtramck facility, 100% electric vehicle. People are excited about it, but there's some other exciting things happening at GMC as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things at GMC. The new Yukon is going great guns at the moment. Literally, the big problem we have is keeping up with demand. They're selling before they even get put on trucks from the plant. So very, very popular new model. So we're super excited for that. I'm actually driving one at the moment, and I can't tell you how good that is. I was lucky enough to get one of the all-new models. So you'll hear a lot more about that. We'll be rolling out an announcement and a marketing campaign once we start to build up some inventory. But it's doing very, very well for us.
Beautiful. Phil, anything else we need to know you want to leave us with as we say thanks again?
I think, GMC, we're famous for our trucks, and, Sierra is the other model that's doing very, very well at the moment. It's the fastest growing vehicle in its segment, in, full-size pickup segment, both light duty and heavy duty. Incredible new products, a lot of technology in those, a lot of innovation. We've talked before about the multi-pro tailgate, which has, been a huge hit for us, and a lot of technology around helping people tow, and we've just announced some new enhancements to our towing package for 21, where we even have now a warning for jackknifing. So that's really important when people are towing to be really, really safe. And what we're trying to do.
I read that warning for jackknifing. That's really something. But the technology is just astonishing, and it gets better every day.
It does, yes.
Phil, thanks for joining us. Thanks for having us. Phil Brook is Vice President of Buick and GMC Marketing. And, of course, he represents lots of people. We salute all of them at General Motors on this day that we feature GM. Thanks, Phil. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
And looking forward to the great launch that will be happening the evening of October 20th, 8 p.m., go to gmc.com. Don't miss it, because you'll have a chance to put in an order for that new EV Hummer as we continue on the Paul W. Smith Show at 8:44.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
At 8:45, let's check it for you right now. Our WJR Traffic and Weather first, and Dana Clark.
Earlier accident, Paul W. along 75 northbound right before Crooks. That collision is clear. Still seeing some brake lights from at least Rochester Road. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Window World. Get a free in-home or virtual estimate for your window siding or entry door project with Window World. Celebrate 25 years in business with Window World and get 0% APR financing for 60 months. Call 1-800-NEXT-WINDOW or visit windowworlddetroit.com.
We'll continue with a warmth, unseasonably mild weather, backing off a little bit by the end of the weekend. Clear this morning, sunny this afternoon, high 76 on a south breeze. Some clouds tonight, very mild, 64. Cloud sun tomorrow, 78. Sunday, cloudy with a high of 68. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly. Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly, who's fair and wise. Kelly has integrity. Kelly has experience. Does everybody here know Kelly? Just for you and me.
For 30
years, Mary Kelly has fought for justice as a prosecutor in St. Clair County, protecting our rights and making communities safer places. On the Supreme Court, Mary Kelly will continue to be a steadfast champion for victims and a passionate advocate for families and children. Mary Kelly is endorsed for Supreme Court justice by the Michigan Chamber of Commerce and over 40 prosecutors across Michigan. For integrity, experience, and fairness, vote Mary Kelly for Supreme Court justice.
Does everybody here know Kelly? Kelly. Does everybody here know Kelly? That's for you and me.
Paid for by Michigan Chamber Pack 3 with regulated funds not authorized by any candidate.
Talking with Michelle Wildman from the MEDC. And Michelle, tell us a little bit about the MEDC.
The MEDC is the lead agency responsible for marketing Michigan and supporting vibrant, diverse, and sustainable communities. We're made up of a group of talented individuals who care about the state and are passionate about the state's economic potential. We're committed to investing in our communities to grow jobs and create vibrant places to live while aiming to provide equitable economic opportunity for all Michiganders.
Tell us about the Redevelopment Ready Communities program.
Well, the Redevelopment Ready Communities program is a set of best practices that communities can use for planning. RRC can act as a pipeline for the Michigan Main Street candidates by identifying communities that are poised for downtown place management best practices and could benefit from the additional support that the Michigan Main Street can provide. That formal recognition that a community has a vision for the future and the fundamental practices are in place that make it right for future development.
Michelle, what kind of support can the MEDC give to local communities to support their vision of a reality?
One of the exciting programs that we have is called the Public Spaces for Community Places crowdfunding initiative to democratize public funding, making it accessible for everyone and encouraging members of each community to play a part in securing that funding to help improve their shared quality of life.
Learn more about the MEDC. Go to miplace.org and hear this entire interview with Michelle at wjr.com/MEDC.
Joe Biden. To fix the economy, we have to get control over the virus. I'm releasing a plan to save lives in the months ahead. We need to increase federal support for testing, doubling the number of drive-through testing sites. We absolutely need a clear message from the very top of our federal government that everyone needs to wear a mask in public. Every single frontline worker should have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe. We need to support schools and childcare programs so parents, if and when they can return to work, are confident that their children will be safe and cared for. And finally, we need to protect the populations most at risk, our seniors, vulnerable populations with pre-existing conditions. We need real plans, real guidelines with uniform nationwide standards. It's a simple proposition, folks. We're all in this together. We got to fight this together. We'll emerge from this stronger because we did it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president. Our energy grid. It powers the present and fuels the future. That's why DTE is working every day, planning and building the grid of tomorrow, investing in infrastructure that's stronger and more resilient, using advanced technologies to make it smarter and more responsive, so you can have reliable, affordable energy where you need it, when you need it. Learn more at dteenergy.com. DTE. There is nothing more beautiful than a tree. Unless, of course, it's fallen on your power lines. Fallen trees are responsible for nearly 70% of the time DTE customers are without power. So DTE is stepping up efforts to trim overgrown trees to keep you safe and the electric grid reliable. And it works. Where we've completed tree trimming, customers have had 60% fewer outages. Learn more at dteenergy.com/tree care. DTE.
Welcome back to the WJR Road Show with Paul W. Smith. Presented by Bridgestone, Lear, Continental Structural Plastics, Axalta, and Eckhart. With more from General Motors, here's Paul.
I shouldn't be surprised because I found this pool company, Anderson Pools, Keith and Janet Anderson. What a great company, great family, great business. What sold me was that they had done some work for Frank Beckman at his pool. He and Karen had some work done some time ago. So I shouldn't have been surprised when Seth, the pool guy, showed up yesterday with a box of fine cigars. I was totally blown away, and I thank them for that. But of course, they had an association with Frank, so of course cigars are involved. Frank is coming up after the news, and he is ready. Believe me, he is ready. He's got a great show planned. We are taking this spot because we had no other place to put Sheriff Michael Bouchard, who released a statement on the arrests in the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. Quote, I applaud the efforts by the FBI, the Attorney General's Office, Michigan State Police, and all the local authorities in assisting in uncovering this plot against Governor Whitmer. He goes from there, but let's talk right to Sheriff Michael Bouchard. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
This is unbelievable. And again, I've repeated over and over again, this is why defunding the police is such a ridiculous idea. Imagine if great police work didn't come into play here and these guys would have carried out their attack on the Capitol, their kidnapping and possible killing of our governor.
You just shake your head every day. You think things can't get more bizarre, and yet they do. You know, I mean, it's just, I've been in this business a long time, Paul W., and I don't know how it keeps getting more bizarre, but absolutely some great work by the FBI and Michigan State Police, and the efforts to make sure that this didn't go forward.
Didn't they do some staging out by you?
Yeah, we had the FBI, HRT, and a lot of the different groups that met there. You know, we're part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and so we have a lot of relationships and work on a lot of these kinds of cases together. So they staged there and did some pre-planning, and I chatted with them a bit because some of the FBI folks were from all around, really, really dedicated men and women.
Also, you pointed out in your press release that while free speech and having your own individual opinions on politics are what makes our country great, violence is never a political expression which will be tolerated, especially there in Oakland County and around this country. I am disappointed how politicized even this issue has become, with the governor saying no one should tolerate violence against our fellow Americans. Well, this is selective indignation and hypocrisy, because this governor and many Democrat governors have turned a blind eye to all of the troubles that we've had in many cities where there was undoubtedly and unfortunately violence, even though they kept saying, oh, no, the people are just protesting. No, that you got to look at it. You got to know when you look at it that there was a lot of violence from leftists and anarchists and such, but no one seemed to get really upset about that in the Democrat Party until it was somebody who appeared to be a Republican or a right-winger or a Trump supporter or whatever, which, by the way, was again so disappointing when both the governor and Garland Gilchrist, the next governor, I should just call him governor because clearly Governor Whitmer has a job in the new Harris administration. But the fact is that they blamed the president and the Michigan Republican Party for this event taking place or almost taking place. It's astonishing to me.
You know, that the point, as I mentioned in my statement, is that, you know, law enforcement, as you said, is focused on keeping people safe first and foremost, and secondly, property and the community. You know, we pledge to protect life and property. So all of the push back and the shove and all the stuff in the political world, you know, whether it's these crazy people that were attempting to do this violence or anyone else, we just try to tune out and stay focused on mission, and that is protect everybody and protect the community in which we live.
You keep up the good work, Michael. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Sorry it's under these conditions and circumstances. There's a lot more ahead of us in trying to heal and listen to disenchanted, disenfranchised people of all races, of all religions, of all religious and political beliefs. This is America. This is what has made America great, and we need to get back to that and continue that. Appreciate your help.
Amen.
And
Amen
God bless
on that, Paul W.
God bless you and all the men and women you represent in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, your office, and all of the other law enforcement people who have not gotten the attention and credit they should by a whole bunch of people.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Michael. You take care. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon. Thanks to our team. First of all, thanks to Bridgestone, Continental Structural Plastics, Eckhart, and our dear friends, a long time, Lear. I'm so happy to be associated with Lear in so many different ways. They've stood by us all the way, all the time, as have so many other companies like the ones I just mentioned, and so many more, as we all get through these troubling times together. But we have to do so sanely. Thanks to the team who tries to keep me sane, our executive producer, Ann Thomas, Brian Morton pressing all the right buttons, Dick Kafner, our WJR news director, Dana Clark, traffic, weather, and opinion, my own Kim Smith helping me in immeasurable ways every day. Curtis Paul joins us on these special days when we go in and out of being on our social media with video. Do go back, and Ann sets these things up, I believe, the podcast, and hear the interview with Ivor Davis, the Beatles, and me on tour. John Lennon would have been 80 today. Imagine. Make it a great weekend. Thank you for being with us. Good Lord willing, see you Monday morning starting at 5:30. Regards, Paul W. Smith.